Hello and welcome to the 109th episode of Unifying Force. I'm Kat, joined by Dave Geo. How is everybody?
Doing well.
All right.
Sorry to everyone that we're a few minutes past the hour. It is the curse of the springing the forward and the springing the forward in the U.S. not being in the sync with the springing the forward in the rest of the world. And why do we do it? And I don't know.
We were on time.
Yes,
well, you were. My bad. We, for some reason, you do it 2 weeks earlier than we do. We do it as it's, I think, meant to be connected to the seasonality more. So it's always the final Saturday of March. We spring forward and then catch up to you guys who will be ahead for 2 weeks.
And ours is allegedly all about like energy consumption and this and that and the other. Allegedly.
Yeah, they say to us it's to help people in the morning not have car crashes because the light is more, so there's less peak traffic time in darkness.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't buy that.
Yeah, it's because it takes people over there longer for them to move the stones in Stonehenge forward an hour.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. The dial of the seven dials in London, it doesn't move without a bit of force.
But anyway, welcome to our Oscar preview, everybody. We're all like excited, talking about all the things that are going on with Oscar.
Who is Oscar?
That's a good question.
That's a good question that nobody really knows. I've been trying to find that answer for a long time, and it's like something that's almost been lost to history, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, there's a. Did you guys have Encyclopedia Britannica? Was that a thing when you were at school?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so it is online, and there's like there's a contracted version of the Encyclopedia Britannica online. It doesn't really come up as high as Wikipedia does. Wikipedia used to be first hit, but now it's Google's AI Gemini overview that's the first hit, which is a different conversation. But in Encyclopedia Britannica, I looked it up, and apparently there was a librarian from the Academy in the 1930s, and she had an Uncle Oscar who also worked in the Academy somewhere. So allegedly Uncle Oscar Uncle Oscar was derived the term Oscars to refer to the awards. But I don't know why he earned that privilege of being the gold man statue. Pretty big thing to receive.
Well, I mean, I just think it would, I don't know, is literally when you get to your, the AI overview, which as soon as we started talking, I like clicked over here. And that's what comes up automatically.
Yeah.
Is it just says no one really knows for sure why.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe we can accept that as they made a little gold man. Maybe the better question is like, why did they decide to make it a little gold man? I don't know. And then happen to look like somebody's Uncle Oscar.
Yeah, and it's International Women's Day, so even bigger question: why is it a man and not a woman?
Well,
because it has nothing to do with that.
It does have nothing to do with that.
It did start in
thinking. We could do different Oscar statues to do with the different awards. That would be cool.
So, but anyway, we are going to check out like the predictions and our thoughts. And I've been busily watching as many of these movies as I possibly can. And you can't watch them all and not easily, quickly, whatever, because there are a ton out there. What category do we want to start with?
Well, actually, I wanted to mention something real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
To the reason why, how the Oscars started. It's funny because the only reason this award show exists, because everybody talks about how award shows are shams and stuff like that, and a lot of them are. But this one specifically was started by Louis B. Mayer, head of MGM, because he was sick and tired of various artisans, be them producers, actors, or production designers, barging into his office and complaining all the time about, you gave this movie more money for the budget than you gave me. You told me I was going to get cast in this and not that. Oh, you let them use my sets and recycle it, blah, blah, blah. And he got so sick of it. He's like, I need to give them something else to fight about. So he created the Oscars, and it like magically brainwashed everybody in the industry to think that mattered more than anything. And then he finally had his peace and tranquility and didn't have to worry about it anymore. So I thought that was quite funny.
That is amazing. I like that.
That's excellent origin story. How come there's no film on that?
Probably because they don't want to admit that it's actually a sham, and they've all been falling victim to it for a long time.
Yeah, it would probably get nominated for every other award.
So was the Oscars the first of the film awards and everything else in awards season?
I think in the USA it was.
Yeah, in the USA, because Golden Globes are much more recent, and the various Guild Awards are more recent, and yeah, that's very. The Oscars are the oldest because it's like the 98th Oscars this year. Yes. I think everything else only comes close to maybe. With the Globes, I think maybe in their 60th or somewhere around there, maybe 70th, but not that close. So,
yeah.
Do you know how old the BAFTAs are, Gio?
I think they're more recent than the Oscars. I think they're post World War II. I'll check, but the BAFTAs are massive because it's film, television, and then we also do theater as well. Okay. The BAFTA, the acronym BAFTA, includes theater and TV in that acronym along with film. So there. You have those as well as having kind of more recent, smaller rival shows, a bit like awards. There are many different awards shows in award season in North America, especially in the US. So we'll also have, I think even like Empire Magazine has its own awards. They're very much smaller, but to go in line with like the end of year compilation lists of best films of the year. And there's the British Television Awards, which will just be for TV. And they'll also award things that actually no, the Emmys do that as well. The things that are long-running soap operas, such as EastEnders or Coronation Street, they've been running for 80 years or so. Those will be up for awards against each other as best soap opera, best daytime TV soap, best evening TV soap, things like that.
We have that. We call it the Susan Lucci's. No. That's a joke.
I did not understand that reference.
Exactly. That's
the easiest category to knock out up front is visual effects because that's just going to go to Avatar. I mean, that's kind of a given.
All right, well, let me try and figure out where.
Because have they done the technical ones yet, Kat?
Well, these are the ones I'm reading. Only the ones that are done on the night of the actual show.
Yeah, because there's a
best
whole
visual effects. Let's go back into this.
Yeah, we got
the nominees are
Avatar 3, F1, Jurassic World Rebirth, The Lost Bus, and Sinners, and this is going to Avatar.
It damn well should.
What's The Lost Bus?
It's a true story about the school bus of kids that got lost during the Paradise Fire and up here in 2018.
McConaughey as a bus driver. And
he had to drive them through the inferno to try and get them out of there.
It's like Speed with fire.
Yes, and the consistency in effects and the effects for the fire was mixed. Sometimes it's really good, but sometimes it's really bad.
Yeah.
But it was Paul Greengrass, the guy who did the Jason Bourne movie, so a lot of shaky cam and really that type of intensity to it. It was an Apple movie.
I was going to ask, where did it come from? I still haven't seen anything or heard of it until just
now. It got
a
limited theatrical release in October, just long enough to qualify for awards, and then it went on Apple TV.
Yeah, it's all over. It's on. You can get it streaming.
But part of it feels like an app, like a streaming movie too, because he stayed faithful to the true story, which means it doesn't have like a big amazing climax or anything like that. It kind of starts in the opposite, where it starts out really intense and then it kind of simmers down rather than going
it's
up.
Like this is happening, and that's it. Yeah, it did stay true to. I want to say that the streaming came off of Apple TV at least for a little while. It was elsewhere, so it was out there to stream. But as far as effects, no, and them giving you, I don't know how I feel about them giving this movies its effects that makes it just look like you don't know that there's any effects.
Right.
Because F1.
Well,
F1?
Yeah, some of it was CG, you could tell, but Yeah, like when the cars crash and stuff like that.
Yeah. And if Jurassic World Rebirth wins, we riot, because those were like the original Jurassic Park effects are better than those.
Oh, is it that
Speaking of
bad?
which, the first 4 Jurassic Park movies are getting re-released on 4K because they added Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos coming up on March 17th. For those
Oh, I was
interested.
wondering that because I genuinely I saw on the shelves they had 2 copies of the Jurassic everything on in 4K, and there was one that was a blue logo and one that was a yellow logo, and the blue logo one was 50, and the yellow logo one was 84.99. So maybe the that one is the newer version that you
I
just
don't know, 'cause
mentioned.
I don't think the newer version's coming out till St. Patrick's Day, unless maybe they released it early overseas.
They were just preview boxes. They weren't the
Oh,
actual
preview
thing.
boxes. Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably it. Just look at the label next time, and it'll tell you if it has, because the new ones are going to have the sticker on it that says, added Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos.
Will that make a big difference for a home viewing experience? Surely you just need the stuff to make
If
it
you
different,
have,
right?
if you have the player has to have Dolby Vision capability, and your TV has to have Dolby Vision capability. Otherwise, that
Yeah.
won't be enhanced. And Dolby Atmos is great for your audio if you have like a surround sound system or like a sound bar or something. But if you don't got either of those things, then you're not going to notice.
Yeah, stick to the
But they're
cheaper
actually
one.
priced pretty cheaply. I've seen them priced as low as like pre-orders for like $12, so they're not going all out on it, which is nice. Okay, so that's good. The next
Yeah.
3 we can knock out all at once because it's all going to the same movie, which is best makeup and hairstyling, best production design, and best costume design. The nominees for all of these things for makeup and hair, it's going to go to Frankenstein. Spoiler alert! But it's makeup and hairstyling nominations are Frankenstein, Kokuo, Sinners, The Smashing Machine, and The Ugly Stepsister. Costume design is Frankenstein, Avatar 3, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, and Sinners. And production design is Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and Sinners. And yes, Frankenstein has been sweeping these 3 categories throughout entirety of awards season, and they will continue their sweep. It was a gorgeous looking film. Even though it was a little slow, too slow for its own good, every frame was eye candy. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it's because it's been sweeping. The only possibility that I see of any changing is that these get caught up in the center sweep of what I think Sinners is going to sweep everything else. And just because Frankenstein's been getting everything else, there might be the slight backlash. But yeah, you're probably right. Is Frankenstein.
And also the fact that with Sinners, people know that the costumes were actually made for the canceled Marvel Blade movie. And Warner Brothers just bought, or whatever studio, they just bought all the costumes to use for Sinners instead, because they both set to take place around the same time.
Yeah.
So all of the stuff was literally assembled already, and they canceled the movie at the last second. So then Ruth Carter swept in and just got it all for Sinners.
Was that actually confirmed by Marvel and Disney?
It was confirmed by the industry. Marvel and Disney weren't going to say it, but the industry confirmed that that's what happened.
And is that the cancelled Mahershala Ali Blade movie?
Yeah, the one where he's supposed, and they keep saying, "Oh, it'll happen at some point." And I'm like, guys, how hard is it to write a Blade movie? I mean, seriously, you got Mahershala Ali, and he's badass. Come on.
Yeah,
But they announced that I think at Comic-Con in 2019, and it still hasn't happened yet. So I
don't understand why it's hard to write any comic book movie, because you have tens and tens. You have 100 years of stories. It's just go pick some shit and get a screenwriter that can translate that to the screen.
Yeah. Technical category. Here's best sound. The nominees are F1, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Surat. Surat being the movie about the rave in Morocco. I think it's probably going to go to F1. That's been winning a few times. And,
this is sound. This is just best sound.
Yeah, this is just best sound. This isn't like
sound mixing.
Well, this isn't
they combined. They actually the Sound Guild voted last year to combine them into one, because the sound mixer and the sound designers are literally sitting at the same mixer board. So the idea of giving a movie best sound mixing but not best sound editing makes no sense. So
I always thought that was a weird thing.
Which is why now the people who win best sound are both. Like, if you're the sound editor, you get it, and sound mixer gets it. The movie which should be winning, I'm shocked, wasn't even nominated, was Warfare, which did get nominated for this at the BAFTAs. The sound for that was just unbelievable. Like, even in a regular theater without Dolby Atmos speakers or anything, it was stunning quality sound. But that was released. I don't know. I guess they forgot about it. I don't know. Uh, yeah, I'm thinking it's going to go to F1, maybe, or
I think
Sinners, because Sinners, sound music, that kind of thing.
actually, I hope it goes to. Initially, I was thinking it has to go to F1 because the sound is a signature part of that sport. Even though they've gone through big changes with the engines um, and with the changing the way the cars work, and they reintroduced the sound because there were a few years where the sound in F1 had been reduced because they were trying to make them more economical and fuel efficient and less damaging to the environment. And then it's a bit like now there are EV cars that have added car sounds so
Yeah,
that
you
people
can program your Tesla to
Mm.
have like vroom vroom noises on the outside
yeah
if you need to.
yeah
But
it's
however, I think most people abandon the vroom vroom noises and they make them just like make fart sounds or something when they roll up.
I mean that sounds like that sounds like Elon Musk's fans would do that
That's just
anyway.
that level of generational thing. It's like, oh, well, can we go vroom vroom or can we fart? Oh yeah, it's like this South
Yeah.
Park generation. I don't know.
Back to the award thing though. I
Yeah.
think F1 should get it, but then
So
having watched Sinners recently and knowing how important music and sound are in that film, I think Sinners should get it.
I'd say, well, okay. I did not see F1 in theaters, and I think that is a big thing, and that's probably a big downfall of this award in general is the
Yeah.
amount of people who are seeing these films in their own homes
Mm.
Right.
and that don't have the right equipment. So where if you had seen, I feel just from seeing F1 in home that if I had seen it in a theater, I would feel the cars in there with me.
Yeah.
And I think that should go. I hope to goodness the people who actually like vote for this are required to see these, to see the
Yeah.
sound in some sort of real
Well,
thing.
they actually announced a very strange thing last year, which you think would have been in place from the beginning, which is that we are now going to ensure that everybody who votes has seen all the nominated films. Now, I don't know
Yeah.
how they're going to do that, but it's like, shouldn't you have been
I
doing that from the
That
beginning?
I
all
read
along.
yeah, I read that last year and was thinking, okay, it's a frank admission. It's good that you're changing it, but why is it only
Yeah.
now?
Yeah. So I
They
got
send
this.
screeners, right? I think
Mhm.
if you're attached to a guild or part of the academy or within a geographical area of LA, don't you get stream? You can apply to get They send you a link. They used to send you DVDs in the post to watch
Yeah, I
films.
think they're
And
no.
now
I
it's
don't think
get a
they're
link.
sending DVD screeners out as much anymore because I think they have a secure email that works for that because they don't like the idea that people pirate the DVDs and that's
Yeah.
how the leaks get out. And
Hmm.
one company is no longer going to even. They used to screen them in an actual theater, but they said at most only 5 people would show up, so they're not even going to do the screenings at proper theaters anymore for the members. So
That
See, now
sucks
that's
because
like for
yeah,
some of them, fine. Okay, even for like best picture or this or that or that, yeah, you can see a lot of that through it. But for
yeah,
best sound, damn it, they need to like watch it in a real setup.
yeah,
yeah,
with a real Dolby Atmos, everything and subs and
yeah. So I think
10.1
this is.
setup at least. Yeah.
So I think
Did-
F1 and Sinners are leading that best sound category.
Yeah.
It probably will be one of those. Continuing the sound theme, that best original score, we got Begonia by Jerskin Fendrix, Frankenstein by Alexander Desplat, Hamnet by Max Richter, One Battle After Another by Johnny Greenwood, and Sinners by Ludwig Göransson. Funny, I'm not sure Hamnet should be nominated in this category because it features a song, the music track on "The Nature of Daylight," which is not original to the movie, and they use it quite a lot at the end of the movie, which everybody's responding to. And in the past, movies have been disqualified from this category for recycling old music, and this uses it so much, but the Academy kind of let it slip through, which is kind of
Huh.
odd. So I don't know what the logic is there. Um, you can never figure these things out, but I think this is an easy one. Ludwig Göransson is going to win his 3rd Oscar, and it'll be for Sinners.
Yeah. Of all of them, I mean, Frankenstein didn't feel like it had anything new and special in the score going on. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, there's background music, there's stuff, but it just felt like a period, a standard period piece.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a really good description of it. I think it wasn't. It does the job for watching the film, but it's not a soundtrack you'll look up on Apple Music or Spotify or stream in the car or sing in the shower or anything like
Right.
that.
It's just not. I mean, when I think of original scores, and this is showing my age some, ones that you would sit there on DVD and you would listen to over and over, and it would be your mood music. Braveheart, absolutely. I listen to that all day. Danny Elfman's Batman '89. This is, apart from even the Prince stuff, and the Prince stuff was, don't even get me started on that one. That was amazing. And Rob Roy.
Rob Roy. That is an excellent film. I did not expect to hear that in today's conversation.
Oh, right. I love that film. That is wonderful. Yes.
I think that film got him to be Qui-Gon Jinn, personally.
Very likely. I mean, it's a really kind of a similar character.
Yeah. Quite stoic and wise and few words, but when he speaks, it's very powerful.
But yeah, of those, original score is you're gonna get Sinners out of that.
Because did Ludwig Göransson also? You know what I want to do? The way they had those amazing videos for season 1 of The Mandalorian that were on Star Wars YouTube, and then I think they put them on Disney Plus, where he kind of just explains the reason why he decided, okay, I'm going to get like the pan flute to do the initial notes of The Mandalorian, then I'm going to add, like the marching sound, and he describes how he layers it up. I'd love to see that for every single composer. And I maybe Sinners. Kat, do you have Sinners on disc?
I do, in fact, have it right here. This 4K Steelbook.
Ooh, I'd love to get one of those. Does it have anything on the making of the music?
A little bit, yeah, a little featurette. They got some good bonus features on here. It's a neat. So I got this back in July, actually. Pretty quick turnaround time for a movie that was released in April to already have its physical out by July.
That is pretty quick.
Yeah. Okay, I have another quick question about physical media. Do you have one battle after another on disc?
I just got it on Friday because Amazon canceled my pre-order for the Steelbook, which I had for 4.5 months. They arbitrarily canceled it, but
does it have any extras?
None. But Paul Thomas Anderson usually doesn't do extras on any of his movies. And so when they said, oh, there's a Steelbook coming out later that's going to have bonus features, and I'm like, usually you make those during the movie or during post-production. You don't wait till after award season to do it. And the fact that the movie lost money tells me the studio's not going to invest money in making bonus features, because it's been statistically proven that no matter how many awards your movie makes, it doesn't cause it to make a ton of more money as a result of the extra exposure. It gets some more money out of it.
Again, it's what you said. It's just people would stop bugging Mayor.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I'm like, you know what? He doesn't really go into it. Forget it. I'm just going to get the 4K and just be happy about it.
And
with that's a great image on the back.
Yeah, so I've got the same thing. It's the same look and design in the UK. I was really reluctant to buy it because I saw there were no extras. And I thought, I usually justify myself buying any physical media, especially if it's full price or close to MSRP. If they say, oh, there's a director's commentary or...
he used to do commentaries, but then fans were taking things too seriously, bitching about it, so he stopped doing that. And even There Will Be Blood, considered the best movie of the century, he had like a 25-minute silent film about the oil industry from the 20s that were on there, but nothing about the making of the film, nothing. And same thing with The Master, very wonderful film, no bonus features. Phantom Thread had some bonus features about the costumes, but he doesn't usually go in for that stuff, so whatever.
I just want to see the filmmakers doing MST3K, just sitting.
Yes,
that's what I want to see for every set of extras ever. Is have the filmmakers do that.
Continuing the theme, best original song. We have Dear Me from Diane Warren Relentless, Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters, I Lied to You from Sinners, Sweet Dreams of Joy from Viva Verdi, and Train Dreams from Train Dreams. Everybody says this is going to go to K-pop, and I tried listening to that song, and I switched it off halfway through. The song was so bad.
So I think that's going to be the Oscars don't go to the popular necessarily vote. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it will this time, though. I think K-pop's gonna get it. I hope it doesn't, but I think it will.
I think
So
it should go to Sinners. I
hello
like it.
to the Twitch. Is our stream is about today. This is our Oscar preview, but our larger show is about movies, pop culture, and Star Wars. This is the unifying force where we try and tie everything together with everything and go down any rabbit hole that opens itself up. But like I said, today we are on our Oscar preview. The Oscars are going to be on. I have a graphic for
15th
this
of March.
right there. Boom. Sunday,
Yeah.
March 15th, 2026 on the ABC or whatever other streamer may be out there.
You know what would be fun? I think we should do a watch party with that.
Well, you know the timing for that, Gio. It'll be 1 a.m. your time, and it'll go on
Yeah.
until 4 a.m.
Yeah, I've sacrificed worse time issues before for this show.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do a recorded watch along for that though. That's a long time to be sitting and
It
having
could
to
be a
look at
thing.
the computer.
No, a recorded one. No, it should, a one-off live stream.
Well, that's what I mean. Live stream, I wouldn't really do that either. I don't want to sit here for 3 hours being required to sit here and stare at the screen. I've done that before. They're not as fun as you would think they were.
Anyway, we're on best original song. I think Golden is going to be what the popular vote might be. That's what, all the kid K-pop demon hunter rabid viewers are going to be. But the kids aren't old enough to be Academy members, right?
Right.
And I don't think the Academy members tend to be swayed by necessarily the popular vote on these things.
But they will like the fact that
Occasionally they do.
the song is for a Korean film.
Yes.
Even though looking at the names here, they're not Korean people who actually made it.
It's not a Korean film. It's an American Netflix film that happens
Right.
to.
But I mean, in terms of
Korean
the culture type of idea that it's highlighting is what I mean.
Yeah.
I think it should go to "I Lied to You" from Sinners. That was a really good song.
Everything should go to Sinners in terms of music and score and sound and song. That the film is about it, as well as it being very high quality. So,
well, I honestly would have given score to One Battle After Another because that's a great score, but but that movie's not really about music in the way Sinners is, which is why Sinners is going to win it. Yeah, I think they should give this one to Sinners as well, best original song.
Yeah, I think Sinners is going to win a lot, and I will refrain at this time from making my comments about that because
I think
you will make your comments about it when we get to the best picture.
Oh, I will. Oh,
yeah, definitely make your comments. Just save them for the end, and then go full angry man shouting at clouds.
All right.
Does that become my standard role here?
Here's the next one. Best animated feature film. We have Arco.
Yes.
No, not the gas company, just Arco, whatever it is.
Elio.
I don't even know. Elio by Pixar. K-pop Demon Hunters. Little Amelie or the Character of Rain. And Zootopia 2.
Wait, this was best animated feature?
Yes.
Yes.
I haven't seen Zootopia 2, sadly.
I thought it was just as good as the first one. Same themes and stuff, so it's like pick your poison as to which movie you prefer.
Yeah.
Did you like the first one?
I love the first one. I like both of them. I thought they were both really good. Little Amelie's been getting a lot of attention, but I don't know I doubt enough people in the Academy have seen it to give that. But Elio was okay for Pixar. They did a late change during production, which made the story less personal and more flat. That didn't really stand out as much as it could have. I've never seen anything about Arco. I've read the name a couple times. I don't know what it is. And then K-pop, of course, is the one that's really popular. That made which really shouldn't be on this list because the movie made 10 cents in movie theaters. So you had it out long enough to qualify for the Oscars, but if nobody went to see it, is that really an accurate representation of the movie? Because Netflix movies, let's just say it, they're TV movies. They're not. They're made for TV. They're made for streaming. They're not really theatrical films, so they shouldn't really get nominated. But that's my 2 cents on that.
So
yeah, I agree. Did you see the article? I think it's been something that we've all known about for a long time or felt about, especially with Netflix original series, definitely with Netflix original movies. I think that Netflix original movies are very low quality in general, on average. The median Netflix original film is poor, whereas the median Netflix original TV series is a lot higher in quality, because I think they spend a lot more money and a lot more time trying to plan it out, which is why you've got things like Money Heist, Squid Game, Stranger Things, K-pop Demon Hunters is the film version of this, but
Yeah.
all these series, Better Call Saul, they're all some of the
great.
best TV series in the streaming era, and they seem to do the TV well, especially if it's IP they've acquired from elsewhere, such as Better Call Saul. A lot of people say it's as
Yeah,
good
that's
as.
not Netflix. That's AMC.
Oh, really? Well, it's Netflix in the
It was
UK.
an AMC TV show before it went to streaming. So it's AMC should get all the credit for that one.
That's so weird
See,
because
what you see is different. The way it's presented differently in different
Yeah.
markets is
in
Right.
the UK,
yeah.
it's
Here it was directly on TV, but you didn't get that way.
no, and it had the Netflix original logo in the
Right. That's
corner.
really deceptive, and they shouldn't be doing that because they're tricking people into thinking, "Hey, we made this." It's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, up until just now, I thought I did. I remember seeing something about AMC, and I think one of you guys told me about AMC, but in my head, I still default to Better Call Saul's a Netflix original.
Because Breaking
Well,
Bad was also
AMC.
AMC, and so as is Better Call Saul.
Was the sequel film AMC original, or was it a Netflix original?
The movie, I think, was a Netflix original. Yeah, the
Okay.
one with what's his name, Aaron Paul or whatever.
all right,
Yeah.
I'm going to take a moment and go down a comment rabbit hole. Is the whole Star Wars series good? Wow, to get us started on that.
I still haven't watched more than A New Hope yet. Been meaning to get around to it, but I wonder if I'm too old now and the magic others seeing it will be lost. Okay, that's a good way of looking at it. Not a very reasonable question. I would say watch the original trilogy in its entirety first.
Yes.
Most people will agree that that is the best of the movies. If you don't like that, you're definitely not going to like the prequels, because I meant the
Well, I
prequels.
take that back. It depends. We know nothing about this person and about their age, because there are those people who far prefer
Right,
the
but the
prequels
person
to
writes
the
that I
originals.
want, but the person wrote, I wonder if I'm too old now. So I don't
Yeah,
know, but
too
here's
old
the
is
thing.
what? Too
If
old
you
could be
didn't-
anything.
If you don't like the original trilogy, then you're probably gonna hate the prequels, which I admit, being a kid when those movies came out helped. It's like I could see where a lot of the criticism came from. Sequel trilogy is a bit of a mess, but the series of like The Mandalorian, the first 2 seasons are really good,
Yes.
and then it's like, you have to cherry pick after that. But watch the
Well,
original
and
trilogy; it is very good.
I will throw in
I
that
think the prequels are
some
different.
animated Star Wars is some of the best Star Wars out there.
That's true.
Like if you go down the rabbit, and not the entirety of it, the Clone Wars has its moments. Actually, don't start with season 1 even. But when you watch the Clone Wars,
No,
the
start with the
animated
movie, The Clone Wars.
Season
you
one
can
has some
there
highlights.
yes, it does. But if you start with season 1, episode 1, you're gonna fall asleep and you're not gonna want to do it. But there's seriously some good animated Star Wars out there. If you start with Star Wars Rebels, you're going to have to go back and it'll get you hooked, and you'll have to go back and figure out what is going on, because there's so much stuff from that happened in the Clone Wars and the TV and the movies and the whatever else. But so much Star Wars out there. So yeah, and a nearly 40 is that's a toughie right there. Is you might like the prequels, the story of Anakin Skywalker as opposed to the story of Darth Vader, but there is Star Wars out there for you. You have to find which one it is. You could go watch the Clone Wars micro series and you may love it. Because it's wacky, it's out there, it's like Samurai Jack and whatever. But yeah, is we generally here talk about shows and movies. Is there are our sister show that comes on alternating Sundays from us is called the Jedi Archives, and the Jedi Archives, they tend to focus on Star Wars comic books, the Star Wars, the High Republic novels, and that sort of thing. So we touch on it here, but none of us here are quite as far down the rabbit hole on the novels and the comics as our fellow hosts on the Jedi Archives. So check them out next Sunday. And they air a little bit later than us. I think they air at 1:00 Eastern time.
Oh, I didn't know that airtime had changed.
No, they start okay.
Yeah, their time changed. I don't know, about a year ago, possibly.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
anyway, we're in
Oh, wait,
animated
can I add
feature.
something?
Sorry, that was a rabbit
Let him
hole.
add something.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, I
good.
want to add something now. Yeah. First of all, I don't think you're ever too old for anything.
Mhm.
Just generally, but also with art, film, TV, even if it's, mainstream pop culture like Star Wars now is, and we're quite lucky it is. It's still art. It's still something that's made by one person usually, and it's there for you to perceive it however you want, and then attribute any kind of experience or feeling you get from watching it, from reading it, from taking it all in, and maybe it resonates, maybe it doesn't. Usually, if it resonates, it hits you somewhere. That's when you enjoy it. Star Wars, I think, for many people, is almost a generational thing. It's a family thing. It's an event in the cinema on the big screen. It's a family thing to do, gather around and watch Star Wars. When there's a new Star Wars film out, we've talked about this before, it's a family event. You try and get everyone together and go watch it for the first time in the theater together. It's a communal experience. And because Star Wars is actually really, they talk about family a lot, and I don't want to sound like Vin Diesel from Fast and Furious now, but it is all about family.
Yeah.
And so there's a whole saga out there. There's 9 episodes in the films. There are great TV shows. We've mentioned some of them. There are amazing novels. I take a deep dive into novels, but I do it in some of the older ones, which
Mm-hmm.
Disney kind of changed things up. And so the older novels don't count as much as they used to in terms of official story, but they still have great value as being literature. Here you go. There's an example of a great novel, and a character that was made for
Or the
the
novel.
page. For the page, yeah, in a book trilogy, the first series of books that continued the Star Wars series after the original trilogy, 4, 5, and 6. And that character was then brought back and had an impact on screen in Star Wars Rebels.
Right there.
That was the original novel, Heir to the Empire. So if you've watched A New Hope and you didn't hate it, you must watch The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. I think that's almost mandatory. That's your homework for next time. And then hopefully you can come back and you can tell us what do you think. Because if you enjoy those, I think you'll enjoy the whole saga. If you don't enjoy those, I would still give the prequels a go because I think they're very tonally different to the original trilogy. And they are very much visually a capsule of the late 90s and early 2000s in terms of direction, CGI, even the color grading of the film. And so it's a worthwhile experience to take each trilogy in if you have the energy and the enthusiasm to do so.
Yeah.
So please
And
dive
I'm
in.
sure in time there will be those people who speak about the sequel trilogy in the same way. I will not be one of them, but there will be those people. But like
Yeah.
here's how we get this together here is the unifying force is if you have seen and liked Zootopia, you need to watch Zootopia 2 because that is like Zootopia 2 is the Zootopia franchise's Empire Strikes Back. Okay.
Is it?
Well, I mean,
What?
in such that hang on, stay with me. I'm
Yeah, we're
almost
listening. The floor is
in
yours.
such that I think they're gonna make a third one,
Because of
and
Hoth?
it's gonna be wacky. It's not going to do as well. Zootopia 2 is the only one that could equal or exceed the original, but they're gonna make another one, and it's probably going to be like little bunny rabbit children.
You know,
I
let
was
me.
going to say,
Going to be the
yeah,
cutesy,
I
and
would
that's going to be the
say.
thing. They're going to be Ewoks.
there will be
I would
Ewoks
say
in
the
Zootopia.
reason Zootopia 2 did as well as it did is precisely because they didn't rush it. They waited 9 years.
Yeah.
If they were to rush a third one, I don't think it would do nearly as well. I don't see there's nothing in this movie which makes me think that it's like The Empire Strikes Back, which is the darker, lower part of a series.
Okay, I meant it.
You meant it was a good
Unless you
sequel.
call it Hoth,
Empire
because a
in
lot of it
such a
takes
way
place in
as
the
it's
snow.
Wrath of Khan, or as it's T2, or as it's a
Oh,
sequel
so are
that
you
could
saying? Wait, are you
exceed
saying
or
Zootopia?
surpass the original?
Oh, so you're saying Zootopia 2 is up there with our conversation of great sequels now?
Yes.
It is a
Okay.
great sequel, but I found that it just recycles a lot of the same themes from the first movie, and it's like, again, pick your poison as to which one. They're both kind of the same story.
Isn't that's but one could argue that is something that makes a great sequel.
It's
You
true.
recycle similar things.
It does.
So, which
stay
one do
true.
we think is going to win this? I hope it's not K-pop. I think
hope it is not K-pop. Elio was a disappointment for a.
I haven't seen Elio. What's the summary of that film for people who don't know?
this kid is living with his he's orphaned and is living with his aunt, and she's like in the military, and he always fantasizes about aliens and getting abducted by aliens, and then one day it happens, and the alien who abducts him is like a kid who's being put under a lot of pressure by his warlord father, and the human child ends up helping the kid in, helping his dad, find his inner child, so to speak. Or, it's a simple story. There was a much more personal angle that they were exploring late, and they abandoned it late in production because they thought this is going to alienate too many people and not get our money back. And so they stripped it down to making all the characters a lot more basic. And so it didn't really, it just kind of felt a bit too basic. It was all right, but not something I would have paid top dollar to see at a movie theater. But you'd be fine watching that on Disney Plus now. Did
you catch it in the theater?
I did, but I got the Regal Unlimited thing. But it was still it was fine. It just wasn't, it was. I wish it was better.
And it didn't really have.
Oh, and it tanked
kind of Pixar movie. Well, it didn't have the amazing vocal cast that so many other, like, you had a couple of people. You had what?
Zoe Saldana, Brad Garrett.
And Brad Garrett. That's pretty much it, wasn't it? It was a lot of other new people.
Okay, actually, it made 154 million, but it cost like rumored over 200 budget, so it lost a lot of money. And the marketing was a little weak. It's almost like they didn't know how to market the movie, and so it just kind of got swallowed. But
when did it release?
June.
Was it summer?
Last June.
Yeah, it to me it looked like a film that got destroyed in the wake of other films. I'm trying to think what else came out. Superman was July.
That was July. Yeah. F1 was the end of June, so that was part of it. It didn't have legs because Superman and F1 came in and took that away.
How to Train Your Dragon overshadowed. I think.
Yeah, How to Train Your Dragon
definitely
killed it.
Lilo and Stitch, maybe.
Lilo and Stitch.
That was late. That was late May, so it probably did overlap as well. But that movie made a lot of money too.
Yeah.
So again, as far as who's going to win this one, either it's going to be the popularity vote and go to K-pop, or maybe Zootopia 2.
Oh yeah, Elio did have Shelby Young, which is voice of Princess Leia from the what is that show? The animated show with all focusing on the female Star Wars heroes.
Yeah, whatever the show's called. Yeah.
Oh, that YouTube one.
Yeah,
I can't even think of it right now. But anyway, Shelby Young, voice of one of the voices of Princess Leia.
All right.
But yeah, I think easily that. Well, this is the Academy. They could go with the one that I have not seen, which is kind of the art film one, which is Little Emily.
That's true.
Yeah,
the character brain.
Is that a French film?
It is. Yeah, it sounds like it. France.
Independently animated film directed by
France and Belgium.
Elise Valdy and Lon Chohan.
Set in Japan, but it's French and made by French and Belgian studios.
Yeah. French and Belgian family living in Kobe, Japan.
Yeah, so this is a bit of a harder category to predict. So one of those. It could be Little Amelie or Zootopia 2. I hope it's not K-pop. Because, God, that doesn't seem to have anything going for it other than if you like that music.
Of the K-pop.
Does Hollywood like Netflix or not?
I mean, I don't know if they like Netflix. I mean, they shouldn't like Netflix. I know all the guilds hate them because they're anti-movie theater, which is why even though the deal fell apart for Netflix acquiring Warner Brothers, it's like when they originally announced the deal, they implied that HBO Max was going to get folded into Netflix despite saying, oh, don't worry, it won't. But they sent out emails to all the Netflix subscribers saying nothing's going to change today. And it's like, well, clearly that's what you're going to do. And Netflix has lied in the past about things like this to get what they want when buying shit. So I didn't trust them that if they actually won the bid, that they would actually let Warner Brothers exist as its own studio and let HBO Max continue existing. I think they would have just eventually absorbed it. And
See, I wish that if that were to happen, the opposite would come true, and Netflix would become an actual studio, like with this.
that'd be nice. Because the thing is, they don't really
Yeah.
need to buy a studio to be able to do that. They got enough money. They could.
Mm.
They don't need to hire bad writers and directors. But the thing with Netflix is they literally have no financial incentive to make only good movies because it's the churn and the slop that they put on there and the new titles that keeps getting them.
Well, and then that they rotate through, and that the fact that Netflix is an exclusive to Netflix, and then they license it to other streaming services, and it's there. It's not like an in-house Warner Brothers is Warner Brothers, and
but that's a whole other conversation.
It is.
Next one, I decided we were going to skip it. I'm going to run it down because it's actually a pretty quick category, I think. Best international feature film. We have It Was Just an Accident, submitted by the country of Azerbaijan by Iranian director Jafar Pahani. And the story is about these Iranian political prisoners who've been released, and they kidnap the man they believe to be their tormentor and drive out to the desert, and they start arguing over whether or not this is actually the guy. Said to be a very good movie, available for renting or purchase now in digital retailers. I haven't seen it yet. The Secret Agent.
This says you can watch it free on Hulu.
Okay, maybe they added it. The Secret Agent is about that's Wagner Moura. It takes place during the Brazilian dictatorship, just like that film, the one from a couple years ago, I'm Still Here, or whatever. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a long movie. I haven't watched it yet. That's also for free on Hulu. He's nominated for Best Actor in a Leading Role, and he won the Golden Globe for that. Sentimental Value, which is the one I'm going to get back to in a minute. That I haven't seen it yet. It's going to be added to Criterion in May. Surat, which is about the Spanish father and son who go to a rave in Morocco to try and find his missing daughter. And it qualifies a bit as disaster tourism because there's a major conflict going on over there right now, which they kind of stumble into, but the movie doesn't really want to explore with it or deal with it. And then the last one is The Voice of Hind Rajab, which is a dramatization of this very tragic death of a young Palestinian girl getting crushed under a car during one of the Israeli strikes. I think it's going to go to Sentimental Value by simply virtue of the fact that it's nominated in so many other categories. That's an easy predictor that if a foreign film, if a movie nominated for international film has a bunch of acting nominations and Best Picture nominations and all that kind of stuff, that it's winning international film. So that I think is pretty simple.
Yeah, that makes sense a lot. I'm surprised. The Secret Agent is also nominated for Best Picture, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, but do you think they're only in there because they made the top 10? And if it was still top 5, they wouldn't have. Yeah,
I think it's usually when they nominate 10, you could easily cross off 5 of them, and and pick which ones are going to be the front runners. But next one I'm going to run down really quick just because it's short as well. Best documentary feature. We have The Alabama Solution, which is about the corruption in the Alabama prison system. Come See Me in the Good Light. Cutting Through Rocks. Mr. Nobody Against Putin, which has been winning a bit. That's about a teacher who's trying to not allow the Russian propaganda about the war influences students at a school in the Ural Mountains, which is really interesting. And then The Perfect Neighbor, about some evil lady from one of those stupid stand your ground laws who killed her black neighbor or whatever in Florida, which is, trashy, but a lot of people are watching that just because they're whatever. I don't think that one should win simply because I think these other ones, Mr. Nobody Against Putin sounds the most interesting, and I hope that one wins. Cutting Through Rocks is about an Iranian woman elected as a councilwoman in a rural village, which is also a big deal because of how sexist Iran is. So,
yes.
What was Come See Me in the Good Light about? That was
Come See Me in the Good Light. American documentary film retracing the life of American poet and activist Andrea Gibson.
Yeah, no, I think so. Alabama Solution could get it because it's on HBO Max, so that means it has a lot of exposure.
It does.
But Mr. Nobody Against Putin has been winning in some of the international categories, but The Perfect Neighbor is also apparently really popular, so that can go. I think those are the 3 that are primarily in the running for that.
How much?
I'm gonna give you that. I think these tend to be the documentary feature is the political hot button of the moment of the Oscars.
I was about to ask that. Yeah,
and I think it would have been far more of if the voting were to happen right now, because I'm assuming this is already done and tabulated, it would be the Middle Eastern one. But these were voted for a couple of months ago. It's Putin.
Actually, the voting only just closed last Thursday.
Well, but that was it's close.
Like 3 days ago. So
Yeah.
it's pretty close. It could be Mr. Nobody against Putin, or it could also be The Perfect Neighbor, because again, race relations and things going on in the United States right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of a toss-up. I'm not sure which one's going to get that. Now, here's something. They added a new category this year. It's called Best Casting.
The casting?
Yes, that would go to the casting director, of course. We have Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, and Sinners. And I think it's going to Sinners because that's a great cast.
Well, damn right, it should go to Sinners. Like that's like one of the few things I will agree about for you on Sinners is the people they put in Sinners were the people that needed to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, the others were
other people could have done that and done those other ones.
Yeah, Marty Supreme, Timothy Chalamet.
And all the movies in this category have acting nominations further down the line, but Sinners just has like the entire cast is fantastic.
Sinners also has, I think, the best actor. But I think it should be locked down. We'll come to that.
Yeah.
And it's not that if the casting of an entire film is more than just their main lead male role, obviously, but because he plays two roles of two different characters so well, and everybody in that film feels organic. That film feels like you're living in 1932 Mississippi, and no other film of the last 18 months for me has made me feel like I'm actually there, hearing and seeing these actual people in that time period. So I think it has to get best casting for sure.
I'll argue as the one who is closest to Mississippi and
the accents.
It's a little bit more of a stereotypical what you think of as being that, but
yes.
Well, like you not like Mississippi, like in the
there's a lot more Hollywoodizing of what you think of that period in Mississippi is gonna a little bit more glamorous than I'm betting that the reality of that situation was.
Oh, I see exactly what you mean historically with social context. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, they are glamorizing that out.
He avoids talking about massive
people
things
and the wardrobe and the costuming and the thing and the
Yeah, it looks really good. It looks like it might have done, but it okay.
Yeah.
Well, my comment about casting, I think, still stands despite that.
It does. I agree that the casting that was perfection. Delroy Lindo specifically.
We'll get to that when we get to the acting categories. But the next one, best writing for adapted screenplay, we have Begonia, which is based on the Korean film Save the Green Planet. Frankenstein, of course, based on the novel by Mary Shelley. Hamnet, based on the recent novel by Maggie O'Farrell. One Battle After Another, based in part on Vineland by Thomas Pynchon from 1990, I think I want to say, around there. And then Train Dreams, based on a novella by Dennis Johnson. And this, of course, is going to be going to One Battle After Another. That's been sweeping all the adapted screenplay nominations. I think that one's going to be a foregone conclusion. I haven't seen Train Dreams.
What it's done, but like having been to where the only adaptation of the novel that I've read and seen is taking Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and doing what they did with it was amazing.
Yeah.
Like I haven't read Vineland. I haven't read, the other things that they've been adapted from. But let me just say that what they did and how they got that version of Frankenstein from the original Mary Shelley story, that's pretty cool.
It is. It's very cool. Surprisingly, only one of these movies is actually based on another movie. That usually doesn't happen. For Begonia, I watched that film. I got that actually. Let's see, I got that right here.
That was such a strange. The premise is so strange and interesting.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, yeah, it's by Yorgos Lanthimos, who did Poor Things and Favorite. It's pretty good.
The Lobster. Are most of his films adaptations? I used to think he was like a writer-director, an auteur who
He
used
does
to
a
write.
writer director, but now that he's been getting these offers, it's like, when you're in your highlight of your career, take the offers, and do that. So,
Sure.
Hamnet, I know, is considered a really great novel. The novel won quite a lot of awards, but the resounding opinion of the movie, even from people who love it, is that it's very emotionally manipulative. So, and it feels more emotionally manipulative than natural, like the novel does. So, I don't think that would have a shot at winning adapted screenplay. And can't speak to Train Dreams because I've never heard of it, and that's unfortunately a Netflix movie, and it didn't get released near me, so I won't be seeing it. But One Battle After Another, I think, that'll be, and given the order that they give out Oscars, this will be Paul Thomas Anderson's first ever Oscar win. And high time, damn it. They should have given it to him for some other film. Continuing the writing category, we have original screenplay.
Yeah.
Blue Moon by Robert Kaplow, which is about the opening night of Oklahoma, and the guy who wrote the play is played by Ethan Hawke, who's hanging out at a bar. The whole movie just takes place in the bar on opening night. We have It Was Just an Accident by Jafar Panahi. Marty Supreme by Ronald Braunstein and Josh Safdie. Sentimental Value by, I'm going to butcher the name, so I'm not going to read them. And then Sinners by Ryan Coogler. And this is going to Sinners.
Yeah.
That's been sweeping.
Train.
Yeah, that's been sweeping. And I would be happy if Jafar Panahi won it, though, because he's been nominated so many times and the Academy has never given him an award, and he's got to be one of the most important, bravest directors ever, because every movie he makes literally lands him in jail.
But again, I think if the voting closed a week from now, that
maybe
because of the world situation, but the vote having closed just before.
Well, it closed just 3 days ago. The question is, when did the bulk of the people start voting? That's the question.
Yeah, people start voting way ahead of. When does the opening of the voting start? Doesn't it start in January or something really early?
No, because they have to have the nominations in by January, but I think they don't officially open until like February because they don't want it to overlap with too many of the other award shows.
Well, that's good, because I was going to say that would skew a lot of people's perceptions of films.
Right. Because there's a such thing as momentum, which is why certain movies that start winning recently are like, oh, this movie's building momentum. It might actually win. But Sinners is getting this. It is the movie that everybody's loving right now. And it was a good script for what it is. But again, I haven't seen Sentimental Value. Marty Supreme was a great read. That would be a great script. And I would not be unhappy if that one won. But I haven't seen Blue Moon. I haven't seen It Was Just an Accident. So it's probably just safe to say it's going to Sinners.
Yeah, I would agree.
I hope it goes to Sinners. Now, I haven't seen all the films, so I don't know if I can fairly say it should go to Sinners, but
yeah,
it's the best. It's the best original film I've seen in the last year. So,
all right. Best cinematography: we got Frankenstein, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Train Dreams.
This is a hard one. I think
it is, because I've seen the trailer for Train Dreams and it looks really gorgeous. Sinners also looks really gorgeous. One Battle After Another actually just won the American Society of Cinematographers Award last night for Best Shot Film. It's also won that Best Cinematography at a couple other award shows, so it might be One Battle. But I don't know. All of these movies looked really great.
They did. I'm going to say Frankenstein, too much of a standard period piece look is I think that's your easy off the top that one. No. Mm-hmm. One Battle of After Another, I think, was derivative of like the look of it was derivative of ones that won Oscars years ago, like Argo.
Yeah.
That kind of gritty realism look.
I think one thing people were talking about a lot with One Battle is the car chase in the end and how the cameras are mounted on the bumper on this road that goes up and down. And it's like, and people were talking a lot about that because that's even on, of course, it's right here on the poster. It just kind of how the road just goes. This is a real road, by the way, in the Mojave Desert. And they weren't even going to shoot there. They were driving to another location, and they noticed how the thing was going up and down. It's like, maybe this is where we should shoot the car chase.
See, I have to reserve judgment completely because I've talked about it. I didn't get that far.
Yeah,
I lost that one in the slow part at the beginning, and I didn't get that far.
Right. the first 30 minutes is a very different movie from what the rest of it is.
Yeah.
So after you get past the first 30 minutes, and then it becomes something else. But yeah, I think it's kind of. I mean, Sinners did look absolutely gorgeous as well with the
Was.
filters they were using and stuff. So I think it could go to either Sinners or One Battle.
Okay. Believable.
Any thoughts, Gio?
I think that okay, so I'll be honest, I bought One Battle After Another on 4K and I could have watched it last night or today. It
Mhm.
would have been very crushingly rushed and I would have not enjoyed it because of the pressure of being like, I
Mhm.
have to watch it before we do the show as research. And so I decided not to. I think from the trailer, it looked great. From what everyone says, including you guys, it looks great. It's shot well. Who's the DOP for One Battle?
I just had it here.
Who's nominated is Michael
Michael
Bowman.
Bauman.
I've heard the name, but I don't remember what else he's done. I think that I'm with you, Dave, in that I have a feeling the cinematography is amazing. It looks great. It has some great tracking shots, some still shots, maybe some shaky shots. Probably uses drones well. There's probably I'd guess there's probably a nice little one.
There's no drone shots in One Battle.
They're not okay. Fine.
No, I don't believe it. Not in anything that
But I think it won't look like it's a game changer. You know, some films with their cinematography, you think they're gonna
Real person.
impact film for the next few years. Everyone's gonna try and use those shots. Everyone's gonna try and
Right.
have a visual style and a visual language that matches that. I don't think One Battle After Another has that, even though it's strange because I haven't seen it, but from what I gather, what I can surmise from critical reviews, from audience reception, from friends, and people who know film well, like you guys, I don't think it's a revolutionary addition to the cinematography universe.
Right.
Whereas I think Sinners is. I think the way Sinners is shot is very intriguing. You can have no interest in the subject matter. You can be not that into the film, and at the beginning, it hooks you in. The very prologue is shot in a really interesting visual way, and I don't want to really spoil it, other than saying the narration's excellent. And I'm gonna do, if you guys allow me, a mini review for Sinners at the end after Dave had his opinions, because
I got my opinions too. We'll share them.
we can do a review of it because I was really impacted by that film, visually, musically.
So I guess we can agree that cinematography is a two-horse race between Sinners and One Battle.
I would think.
Yeah, there's not
admittedly,
even
Marty Supreme looked really good too, but that also looks more like standard period piece. Whereas this, it's between those two.
Yeah.
Best editing. This is the one category which is exclusively unique to filmmaking, which is why the Academy rightly rioted when they tried to cut it from the broadcast a couple of years ago. It's like, what?
No, that's
Yes. Editing, we have F1 by Stephen Maroney, Marty Supreme by Josh Shafty and Ronald Bronstein, One Battle After Another by Andy Jurgensen, Sentimental Value by Oliver Bugay-Cancote, and Sinners by Michael P. Shaver. I would say Marty Supreme. I thought that was edited really well, given that it's 2.5 hours of a hustler and a con man going around being an unbearable asshole, screwing everybody over in these little episodic things, and it has to keep your attention for the full 2.5 hours to do that. Whereas Sinners, it's a very straightforward narrative type of thing. It's like, okay, I mean, granted, the first 40 minutes is very different from the remaining 90 minutes. Whereas One Battle, the first 30 minutes is different from the remaining 2 hours, but even that kind of unfolds, kind of standard. And I think the car chase at the end of One Battle, they drag the tension out a bit too long. Like if I were editing that movie, I would cut it down shorter. Because there's a time when you make the audience wait too long for something that happened that they just stop caring. F1 has been winning a couple times in this, even though there's nothing about F1 that made it jump out.
Just feels like Ford versus Ferrari.
Not nearly as good as Ford versus Ferrari.
But I mean, like I said, it's like, why?
Yeah. I would give this to Marty Supreme myself, but I don't think it's going to win because it has no momentum and it hasn't been winning anything. But that's just my thoughts.
What I want isn't here. I thought you talked about episodic and, where you cut and how it affects the pace of the film. I would have gone with weapons.
That's right.
That would be what I would have right here. Because choosing which one of those
that one I thought was really slow.
It did, but then that made it better when the end of it picked up.
Well, my issue with that movie is that between the lead girl's story and the junkie's story, you don't really need the cop's story because both that halves of his story have already been told, and it kind of. And then, as excellent as the hook was for weapons, when they present the solution, it's not presented in a interesting way. It's like, oh, and here they are, and it's like, wait, what? It's like this is just.
Well, there was a leap to like realism versus they're throwing realism out the window with this because for a while
I liked I liked the premise of what actually happened. I just meant the way they chose to reveal it in the movie didn't seem as spectacular as how that hook just hooked everybody in the marketing, and then it's not like a big surprise when they show, oh yeah, and by the way, here are the kids, and this is what happened.
Well, then I kind of like the twist.
I like the twist. I just didn't like the way they revealed the twist. I just put it that way.
Okay.
What do you think?
Have you seen Weapons, Gio?
I have not. No.
Ooh.
I know that I know. I'm aware of.
I know it's on HBO Max in the States, so whatever you have to get that material should be available to you over there.
Yeah, we don't actually have HBO Max yet, but it's coming.
But we're right. But I mean, since you don't have it over there, they lease their material through what? Through Sky or something like that?
It's normally Sky Atlantic. Yeah, they carry all the HBO stuff: Succession, Game of Thrones, The Wire, The Sopranos.
Yeah, because it's a Warner. Because Weapons is Warner Brothers, so it should.
Yeah, we get fewer films actually that are HBO, unless they're kind of like biopics. They seem to pop up on Sky Atlantic, usually about American historical figures. But yeah, I'm thinking of was it Paul Giamatti who played one of the presidents? Madison, maybe that was HBO original. Yeah, John Adams. There.
That was a Showtime show, and then they got it.
Yeah, so it is currently not free in England. It is available for digital rent or purchase on Prime Video, Apple TV, Sky Store, and Rakuten. Yeah, that's Rakuten in England, but not streaming anywhere for free yet.
Yeah. Well, sorry, what was this category again?
It was editing. F1, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, and Sinners.
I need to see Sentimental Value because it's popping up so much, and I'd love for Stellan Skarsgård to win an award, but I don't want him to win at the expense of someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's that thing of, is the Academy Awards going to do the old, we haven't given it to this actor for years, or this actor's had an incredible career.
You see, I hate it when they do that because that's what honorary Oscars are for, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But they have a bad habit of doing that. They give it to somebody because they feel it's owed to them.
Yeah.
On a tangent, seeing as we're talking about One Battle After Another, what did you guys make of Leonardo DiCaprio winning Best Actor for The Revenant?
It was a cheap Oscar bait. I mean, the cinematography was gorgeous, but personally, I think that's all that movie had going for it. I didn't think the performance was that good. He was significantly better in Wolf of Wall Street, significantly better in One Battle, and they gave that to him just because, we should have given it to you for Gilbert Grape way back in 1993, but we didn't because you were a kid.
Yeah, it was an ode to Oscar, right? Yeah, that's what I mean. They felt they owed it to somebody, so they gave it to him arbitrarily. Yeah, I think he performed amazingly well. I don't remember who else he beat out. I don't think there was anyone he upset in a big way in the Best Actor nomination in 2016, but he barely spoke in the film. So,
but that's kind of the point. Okay, now here, let me start with this. Yeah. That's going to be one of those movies that you have to shame me for having never seen. But there's a reason why.
I wouldn't shame you for that.
There's a reason why I've never seen The Revenant. No, I shame myself for having never seen The Revenant because I lived and worked in Jackson Hole. Like the camp that I worked at, we would put on a little play, like a big play. It was a big part of the camp about the story of the Mountain Men. I have portrayed his character in that little skit before, and the whole, like, you're mauled by the bear and you crawl like on your hands and knees and get back. Done that. And that's the reason why I've never seen that film, because I want to see it uninterrupted on the biggest screen humanly possible and actually take it in and see if it is what it needs to be. But
I think it's yeah.
Wait, so they actually shot it in South America.
Yeah. Right.
So-
Well,
Yeah, I was
because
gonna
you can't
say-
shoot anything in the Yellowstone, Wyoming, Jackson Hole area anymore.
I'm
You
looking
can't.
at who he was up against.
Did you
He was
get
up
mauled
against
by a
Matt
bear
Damon
for
and
art?
Mark-
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I go. Well, no, like, but
Yeah, he
like,
wasn't really up against anybody that would make an upset necessarily. But,
Hmm.
no, but Gio, like, I've been in a presence to where I can feel what I think that he would have been feeling, because a grizzly bear in the wild gives you a completely different feeling. I've seen a grizzly bear in the wild from a football field's length away and
Mhm.
scared out of my ever loving mind. And the
Good
thing,
reason,
the
though.
thing is 100 yards away,
For
probably
good
more,
reason.
but
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah.
okay.
You can close that distance very deceptively.
And then I've
quickly.
seen a grizzly bear sitting on the side of the road with a dipshit on a motorcycle pull up between me and him and like start taking pictures. And I'm like, you're in a motorcycle, on a motorcycle. You're an idiot.
Mhm.
So editing is going to be. They might give it to F1, but I don't know.
No, please no.
I hope
They
not. I hope not.
could if they're going to give F1 something. F1
It could win
is-
best sound for something, but
it could win best sound, it could win editing. There's clippiness, and like there's a lot of fast editing in that, whereas there's not in a lot of the others.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the next category. Actress in a supporting role. We have Elle Fanning from Sentimental Value, Inga Ibsdottir Lilius from Sentimental Value, Amy Madigan from Weapons, that film's only nomination, as Aunt Gladys, Wunmi Musaku as Annie from Sinners, and Tiana Taylor as Perfidia Beverly Hills in One Battle After Another. This has been a toss-up because different actresses have been winning in this category throughout awards season. Amy Madigan being the one who won most recently at the Screen Actors Guild Awards last week. But Tiana Taylor won, I think, the Globes. Wunmi Musaku won the BAFTA. And again, Sentimental Value, the Academy clearly likes it. They nominated both actresses for this. So I think, to me, it's a toss-up. I have no idea who's going to win this.
Madigan made Weapons.
She did.
Did she?
Madigan made Weapons. I don't particularly think. Again, I haven't seen the back half of One Battle After Another, so I reserve judgment. I'm not going to say anything about that. I know.
She's only in the beginning of that movie. So if you watch the first 30 minutes, then you saw her whole role.
Then no.
All right.
No. And then the actress for Sinners, no.
Annie was good. A good character.
No? You didn't like her?
No, and it didn't like. It wasn't not like. It was not.
Yeah, it wasn't like yeah.
It wasn't crucially affect. No, she did not crucially affect that movie in the same way that Madigan did Weapons.
That's a good point.
A fair point. Yeah, that's fair. I can't comment, obviously, because I have only seen one of those two films. I would love for Sentimental Value to pick something up.
Well, it's going to win International Feature. That's a given.
Yeah, I mean, so best actress, you both think Amy Madigan?
Supporting actress, it could be Amy Madigan. It could be.
Or do you want? Who do you think and who do you want?
Honestly, the way Dave says it, he's right. Amy Madigan makes that movie, so I would be happy with Amy Madigan winning. But again, I haven't seen Sentimental Value, so I can't speak to the two performances that's nominated for in this category.
And sadly, I haven't seen Sentimental Value because it's just damn expensive.
Like, yeah, and then
right now it's a $19 rental.
Yeah, and then Tiana Taylor was fine in One Battle. It wasn't like, I think that's people just the hype of around the movie in general more than, whatever. Wunmi Musaku, she was good, but Dave's right. She doesn't like as much affect the entirety of the movie in the same way that Amy Madigan does as Aunt Gladys. So
is that based on the character writing or is that based on the performance?
Performance and the writing, because her character as Aunt Gladys comes in.
The performance makes the character.
The performance makes the character, and it's like becomes a totally different thing when she shows up. But she's really creepy, and she was really good in that. And she joked about that when she won the acting guild last week. It's like, wow, I didn't think you guys liked hanging out with Gladys so much.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, okay, so that's that. Again, I can't fairly judge it because I haven't seen Sentimental Value, but
Yeah,
here's
we
the
just need
one
to see
that,
that.
to me, this one is the most stacked. This is actor in a supporting role. We have Benicio del Toro in One Battle After Another as Sensei Sergio St. Carlos, Jacob Elordi in Frankenstein as the Creature, Delroy Lindo in Sinners as Delta Slim, Sean Penn in One Battle After Another as Colonel Stephen J. Lockjaw, and Stellan Skarsgård in Sentimental Value as Gustav Borg. Sean Penn has swept virtually every award ceremony up to this point, but I thought it was interesting that this is the only award show where Delroy Lindo actually got into this category, which I was surprised by. And he's amazing, and he's been long overdue. He got totally snubbed when they didn't nominate him for To Five Bloods 6 years ago.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, Jacob Elordi was fine as the Creature, but no, I don't think that's a serious contender. Benicio del Toro is a delight in One Battle. You love him. He's like a breath of fresh air. You just want to give the guy a hug. He's such an amazing character, and everybody loves him for that. But I mean, man, Delroy Lindo was so good, and admittedly, Sean Penn is like a completely different person. Like, what are you doing with your face? And you're so weird that I wouldn't be surprised if he wins, nor would I be upset. But there are a lot of great choices there.
It's a tight one. I hope it's Delroy Lindo.
Yeah, I would love it if
I
Delroy
really hope
Lindo
it
won
is.
this.
I don't know if he will though. It sounds like, given the momentum, it's going to be not him. It's going to be Sean Penn.
Well, last week Sinners did win, because One Battle was winning all the different Guild Awards show, and then the streak was broken last week when Sinners took home Best Cast and Best Lead Actor at the Acting Awards, which and the actors comprise a big chunk of the Academy, so maybe. Delroy Lindo is so great in that movie.
I need to see Sentimental Value. I need to see Sentimental Value.
I think we all need to see that and do a review.
Yeah, Delroy Lindo, I love, and he was a major highlight of that movie, possibly the major highlight of that movie. But he deserves it, but he's done better things. I mean, I love Delroy Lindo for something he did years upon years ago as Soul of the Game, where he plays Satchel Paige. I thought that this was a kind of similarly kind of role in that, is like Satchel Paige, for those you know, in Negro League Baseball, was one of the older players, and like had that the wisdom and the whatnot, and then the coming out, and this is a thing, even though like it was so many years ago that he was playing Soul of the Game, he wasn't that old at that point, where now he really kind of is. But yeah, it's a thing. Like you said, is playing the Creature was like,
yeah, not that much to do.
Well, I mean,
that wasn't really the way that character was portrayed in the film, though.
It was more than that. I exaggerate, but it wasn't as it did the opposite. Frankenstein for me was the opposite of what One Battle of Another did. The opening with the Creature and what he did, those opening scenes, were far more powerful than the entire rest of the movie. Once you actually got to know the Creature and got to see more about the Creature and the details about the Creature, the less and less the Creature was the thing.
Yeah. I think I don't think it's going to go to Delroy Lindo.
Because I think the safe bet is Sean Penn, just because he's been winning everything, and he does completely transform into somebody else even more than most of those other roles. So it would still be a fair win. But
I was going to ask that. That's another thing people, as a contentious issue with the Academy Awards. If somebody physically or kind of visually transforms into a very different character for a role, does that automatically elevate their performance above someone who doesn't? Because the only reason they do that is due to the writing.
Anytime Bale just goes off the rails and just transforms into somebody completely different or loses 150 pounds for a role. Oh, there he is, Oscar nominee.
Yeah, but he hasn't won yet, so
That's true.
Yeah, true.
So yeah,
because Brendan Fraser did that as the whale, right? Brendan Fraser
no, he wore a
transformed.
fat suit for the whale.
Okay, yeah, but he also
He didn't get that morbidly obese.
no, he didn't get that morbidly obese, but I think he did put on weight. Because I remember seeing a photo of him during the filming of that, and then seeing him during award season, and there was a significant physical difference to his face, and that was before Ozempic and Mounjaro became popular.
You know, a movie he was really good in this last year that didn't get any nominations was Rental Family. He was really good in that. I thought he was better in that than The Whale, but it's just me.
Yeah, and again, The Whale, I think, was an award that was overdue for him rather than.
I don't know if it was overdue because he's been a likable guy, but I think Gods and Monsters was probably his best movie up to that point from the 90s. But I mean, it was a great narrative that everybody liked for him as making a comeback. And that plays into it as well sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes.
Yeah, depending on the person, they like a comeback.
Sort of like last year, Demi Moore won lead actress at the Actors Guild Awards for The Substance, but she did not win lead actress at the Oscars. So
you think that's going to happen again?
It could. We'll see. So I think that's going to go to Sean Penn. Actress in a leading role, we have Jessie Buckley as Hamnet, or in Hamnet. She's been sweeping everything and will probably continue to sweep here. Rose Byrne and If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Kate Hudson and Song Song Blue, which is a very cheesy true story about a Neil Diamond tribute band where they changed a bunch of facts to make it feel more like a Lifetime original movie.
It's a Hugh Jackman one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Renat Renziv as Nora in Sentimental Value, and Emma Stone as Michelle Fuller in Begonia.
Emma Stone is just Meryl Streep at this point. She just gets nominated every year.
Yeah, and no reason to think this isn't going to Jessie Buckley. It will. She's winning everything, literally every award, and she will continue her streak at the Oscars.
But does she deserve it in your eyes?
She was very good. I mean, I didn't like the movie, but she was very good.
Okay. Dave, have you seen Hamnet?
I have not seen Hamnet, so
yeah, I'm reading it right now.
I would have said Emma Stone for shaving her head, but
yeah, that's what I mean. It's the physical transformation. Oscar, there you go. You sacrificed a huge part of your body. Have an award.
I don't even understand how the song sung blue. Like, I don't even know, because that
Kate Hudson was good in the movie.
Yeah, but the movie itself, like, does a performance that elevate? I mean, I guess it elevates the movie, and it was, but the movie,
yeah,
yeah,
like you said, it's a step above a Lifetime original movie.
Is it that bad?
Well, no, it's just one of those things where they changed a bunch of things to make it feel more like a Lifetime original movie, like things to make it seem more extraordinary than it actually was.
Yeah, you gotta insert drama into the actual real life event that it was.
Yeah,
I see.
So yeah, I think this is just gonna go to Jessie Buckley, and that's that. Here's a go. Best actor in a leading role. We got Timothy Chalamet, Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio, One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke in Blue Moon, Michael B. Jordan in Sinners, and Wagner Moura as a secret agent. Now, different people have been winning for this. Michael B. Jordan just won at the Actors Guild last week. And I think he should win it because that's a really great dual performance because you're acting against yourself rather than with somebody else. And it's one thing when you're filming against a blue screen and you know they're going to be seeing digital, whatever. But when you have to think about the fact that you have to act against yourself and thinking about what you're going to do, like he does different things physically as well to make the twins kind of stand out so that you can tell which one you're looking at, like the way he holds his face or his eyebrows and as one character versus another. And he was very good. And I think, you know, that tech that they've perfected the idea of having people play twins, like you will believe that he has a twin. You won't think for a second that it's just him, but nope, it's just him. There's no twins there. DiCaprio, I was kind of surprised he was getting nominated. I thought it was one of those things where, it's DiCaprio, we should nominate him just because it's DiCaprio, because he just plays a washed up stoner most of the time. It's like, okay,
Yeah, it's not like DiCaprio in the Howard Hughes movie,
Yeah.
in The
And
Aviator.
Chalamet and Marty Supreme, yeah, he's an unbearable asshole. It's like one of those mile a minute talking type roles, and he was probably his best role yet. But okay, he hasn't really been winning much, even though everybody thinks it's going to be him. Ethan Hawke, I haven't seen Blue Moon, but a lot of people like him. And then I haven't watched The Secret Agent, but Wagner Moura did win the Golden Globe. Not that that means much, but you know, international voters might be voting for Wagner Moura.
I'd love to see breakdown of the Academy. I think they did this about 5 years ago in terms of they did like a cultural or ethnic breakdown of the category to show that the Academy were being a bit more diverse. Why they did that is another story, but I would be interested in seeing how many considered to be international creatives, artists there are in the Academy versus, I guess, domestic American ones,
Mm.
because that would definitely influence which films get nominated and then win the international feature role, international feature film, and also affect the ones that are in a Best Picture rundown, like some of these ones are, which aren't in English. I really want to see The Secret Agent as well. The Secret Agent and Sentimental Value are my top two films that I want to see very soon,
Yeah.
before next Sunday, if I could.
Yeah.
Now, I believe, Dave, you wanted to say something about the acting category earlier.
Well, it's not necessarily the acting category, but it's that the movie in general is, I think, like Chalamet's probably going to be a favorite, but Chalamet is getting to the point where Chalamet is being Chalamet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Michael B. Jordan has been in some movies that people have considered some absolute stinkers, like
Not many.
Fantastic Four.
Well, that's one. That's not many.
Right, but I mean, extraordinarily a stinker. He was fine in this. The fact that he did play twins and convincingly as twins, that it's not, the original 60s Parent Trap where you go, oh yeah, there's the line that you don't cross on that screen because you have to do this and you have to do that. I think that was pretty seamless. I think that's going to be a favorite. DiCaprio, yeah, it's like we nominate him because he's DiCaprio, but I think just because he's playing twins and he's playing twins in a film that people see as a favorite, that it's Michael B. Jordan. I'll save my diatribe for the best picture.
Yeah, I think that to your point about do they elevate, I think Michael B. Jordan does elevate those roles, but Timothée Chalamet does as well. So I think it's a 2-horse race between those two.
One could argue
DiCaprio, that could have been 6 other guys in that film.
Yeah, one could argue. I'm quoting a friend and not me. Timothée Chalamet doesn't play against his type or against his character while in the role of Marty Supreme. And that's why it's a convincing performance. Because rumor has
the marketing he's been deliberately doing. Well, no, because in the marketing he's deliberately doing the method actor thing by acting like Marty Mauser during the campaign. That's the point.
Yeah, but it's not just that. Timothée Chalamet is a very polarizing character in pop culture, and he's just done that again recently with the CNN town hall he did with Matthew McConaughey, and he made some comments about how he'll always want to be acting on the big screen because that's what people care about, and no one cares about theater.
He's not wrong.
Huh?
He's not wrong, because contrary, I read the responses to that, and it's like, contrary to popular belief, LA and New York are not the center of the universe, but the only people who responded were the opera places. And it's like, yeah, the reason LA and New York sell out is because those are the only places you could go to see them anymore. It's like, maybe you're lucky if you get some type of opera ballet thing passing through once a year, if that. But in most places, you can't find it anymore because it's not in demand. I mean, it's just not. It's sorry to say, but
yeah, I think. But anytime someone says a sweeping statement like that, they're asking to be, they're asking for pushback, and I think he's just somebody
I don't
who
think
probably
many of
wants
them are
that.
in the academy though, so I don't think that's going to hurt him.
Yeah, but I think that he seems to be critically loved Wasn't he nominated for Call Me by Your Name in 2017? That was his breakout role, and I think
so.
He got Best Supporting Actor when he was what?
He didn't win. He hasn't won any Oscars yet.
No, he hasn't. How old was he then? What, 19 or something?
Back then, yeah, I don't know how old he is. Oh no, he's 30. So yeah, he was probably 8 years ago. He's like 22 or whatever when he did that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a two-horse race between those two, Jordan and Chalamet.
I really hope it's Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, he'd be great. He's been giving Oscar caliber performances since The Wire in 2002.
Exactly.
When he played Wallace, but that was TV, and the Emmys suck for not nominating that show ever for anything. So fuck the Emmys.
Yeah.
Seriously, best show ever. And they actually got Emmy members to comment on that with the protection of anonymity. And they said, well, you know, that's a type of show where you have to have a good memory because they will randomly allude to something from an earlier season, but they won't provide a flashback to remind you of what it is. And, oh, it was too real and crap like that. Just these really pathetic answers. And I'm like, no, you didn't like the fact that it was a mostly not all black show, but largely a show that was doing all the problems very realistically and pointing out how the establishment is really responsible for a lot of these problems that you didn't want to acknowledge because you're part of that establishment. And that's basically why it got overlooked, and why it's to this day justifiably regarded as the greatest show ever made. Anyway,
it is the greatest show ever made. Confirmed, yeah. It is the greatest show. Yeah,
I've watched it 5 times all the way through, and it's like 60 episodes long because it's that good. Okay, best director, we have. This is weird because Best Picture has 10 nominees, but Best Director only has 5, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, it's strange.
Which further confirms that when it comes to Best Picture, you could just cross off 5 names easily. But anyway, Best Director, we have Chloe Zhao for Hamnet, Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another, Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value, and Ryan Coogler for Sinners. And I think this is the year PTA is going to get his flowers. He's going to win for One Battle. Again, I think it's a 2-horse race between him and Ryan Coogler for Sinners. Then again, Sentimental Value has been nominated a lot, so surprised that he made the list, but not entirely surprised, I guess. And yeah, some of the scenes in Hamnet are directed well, but I think that's more for Jessie Buckley's performance than it is for Chloe Zhao's directing. That's just me.
And Chloe Zhao won recently for Nomadland, so
she did, yeah.
Maybe she won't get it again.
PTA is long overdue, and he keeps giving Oscar caliber films all the time. And I think this is his year. Okay. Even though Sinners has a bit of momentum from last week, I don't think it's going to overcome that. I think Paul's winning this.
Sinners also directing why One Battle After Another is also a much more far-reaching. There's a lot more set pieces and movement and things that happen in that, whereas the vast majority of Sinners happens with like an enclosed environment, and it doesn't really require as much. If that's,
are you saying that Sinners was an easier film to direct than One Battle?
I would think. Maybe. I would think.
Maybe. He had a lot of moving pieces. Not necessarily kinetic, physical moving pieces in the film, but he had a lot of different character things to explore and then overcome over the 3 acts of Sinners. So I would say that I don't think Sinners would have been as good a film in another director's hands.
So okay, that's a reasonable way to put that. Whereas One Battle After Another probably could have been done that style, like it was directed much like, I don't know, Heat.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I, again, can't really comment fairly because One Battle After Another is something I'm about to watch. So I don't mean to diminish One Battle After Another or Paul Thomas Anderson when I'm trying to elevate Ryan Coogler and Sinners. I think Ryan Coogler and Sinners is already at the top of the directing over the last 12 months. And it's the best directed film that I've seen. And the caveat is I haven't seen One Battle After Another, and I haven't seen Sentimental Value. Reading the novel, I feel like I know how Hamnet might look. if I'm allowed to cheat and say that. But also having seen her previous films, including the absolute Marvel banger Eternals, um, Chloe Zhao. Well, at least Chloe Zhao's directing in that I thought was quite good. The cinematography in that film was good. It wasn't very well edited. It was very poorly written. Had lots of other problems, but it did feel like a kind of road trip odyssey, that film. And apparently that's why she was hired by Disney, because Nomadland had that kind of feel as well. I don't know what kind of feel she gives to Hamnet, given that it's just a drama tragedy that takes place in a few settings. So
Did you see Marty Supreme?
no, I haven't seen that.
Okay,
Is
so
the is the directing really good?
yeah, kind of like they did with Good Time and Uncut Gems, except this time it's only one brother doing it instead of both.
Yeah. And his collaborator's not a name I recognized before seeing the Oscars, actually.
Yeah.
The other one that one of the Safdie brothers is directing with. Oh, he directed it solo, but he wrote it with someone, I think.
Yeah, I think Ronald Braunstein.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
So
I think this one's going to PTA.
you think PTA?
Yeah.
I hope so. And if it's not, then I hope it's Ryan Coogler.
Yeah. All right. The big one.
I forgot it. Well, before we get to Best Picture, I forgot to mention something on the Best Actor, which is a lot of predictions early on in the season had predicted that this person was going to be there and wasn't. And I mean, I don't know that they needed to be over who that was, but what happened to The Rock? Where's Dwayne Johnson?
He didn't get nominated. Everybody thought he was going to get his nomination, and he didn't. And I think it's because, I mean, yeah, he's not a UFC fighter. He was a wrestler, but it's close enough that it's like, well, is that as much of a stretch for you to play wrestler when you're from that world and you know that world and grew up in that?
Yeah.
And and he's got a lot of makeup, because it's got a makeup thing, because they did all the
unrecognizable.
Well, I could see that's clearly him, but I mean, they did a good job on it, but yeah, I think it just didn't connect. Well, because one, it wasn't a good movie. It just, there's no narrative drive. There's no real beginning, middle, or end. It's just a rotating carousel of fights in the Pride League, arguments with his girlfriend, and then rehab opioid woes. That's all it is. There's no narrative. There's no plot. There's no story. It's just
sounds like a fun movie.
I would have assumed early in the season before the nominations came out that vast makeup job playing, like
right, no,
not in or typical.
So this answers Gio's earlier question, Gio's question of whether getting a bunch of makeup and stuff to make you unrecognizable automatically elevates you, and no, it does not. Because
here we go.
And it's funny because I remember being upset when the Safdie brothers split few years ago, because I thought we weren't going to get any more movies like Good Time or Uncut Gems. But when Josh made Marty Supreme, which fits right in there with that, I'm like, oh wow, I guess that was all Josh. And I'm like, wonder what Benny's going to do. And when I saw the Smashing Machine, I'm like, oh, this isn't really good. I mean, the only difference between it is that Marty Supreme, it has shaky cam, but not anywhere near the insane amount of shaky cam that the first two they did together have. So I'm thinking Benny was more obsessed with shaky cam than Josh was. But yeah, I just think people figure, oh, it's not much of a stretch for you to play a UFC fighter. This is your world, you know about it, and it just wasn't that great of a movie, so it just didn't resonate. Yeah. The worst opening of his career as well for a film.
Well,
even though he put out a really nice message thanking people who did go to see it,
because that was this is his attempt to win an Oscar.
Yeah,
not playing like you said, not necessarily against type, but playing against the type of movie that he makes. It was not an action summer blockbuster.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
It was something that attempted to explore someone's life. You just didn't necessarily pick the most interesting life to explore.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm told that it was almost like a scene by scene recreation of the documentary that it's based on. And it's like the documentary was made 22 years ago. And yet they relegate his post 2000 life to just intertitles at the end of the movie. And it's like, you have 22 years on this of other aspects of his life to explore. But no. And Emily Blunt was excellent in that movie, but she gives tour de force performances and everything, so you're better
Yeah.
off just watching her in a better movie.
Devil Wears Prada.
And again, she didn't get nominated because, again, people didn't like the movie. So
But
she's not on that list.
but you know, we got a nomination for Song Sung Blue.
True, and I think that was that. I mean, that's true. But Kate Hudson was very good.
Yeah.
Which and maybe that's why, because for a movie that's so ridiculously cheesy, it's like, wow, you have Kate Hudson. She's actually treating it like it's really high art, even though it's not.
Mm.
But okay, so here we go. The Best Picture category. We have Bugonia by Yorgos Lanthimos, which checks all the boxes of the captive storyline, luscious cinematography. Oh, that's somebody else who didn't get it. Jesse Plemons is nominated lead actor everywhere else, but he didn't get it for the Oscars. His best performance, by the way. He was so good. We have F1, which has no business being in this category. I'm sorry.
Whatsoever.
This is like a popular film vote that they threw in there just to please. They put this in there because they're trying to get their ratings
not
back.
Very popular film.
Yeah. Frankenstein by Guillermo del Toro. Hamnet, which is the Chloe Zhao film. We have, Sam Mendes is one of the producers on there, and Steven Spielberg for Hamnet. What a surprise. Marty Supreme. Timothy Chalamet is one of the producers, but I think they only give the award to 3 of them. So you have Eli Bush, Ronald Bronstein, Josh Safdie. One Battle After Another. Adam Somner, Sarah Murphy, Paul Thomas Anderson for producers. The Secret Agent. Sentimental Value. Again, the Oscars love this movie, apparently.
Yeah,
Sinners by Zinzi Kugler, Ryan Coogler, and Sev Ohanian. And Train Dreams by a bunch of people I don't know, and I don't want to butcher their names. So, okay, I think this is frankly a 2-horse race between Sinners and One Battle. Not necessarily that they're the best movies on the list, but that's where the momentum is going. Because again, I have not seen Sentimental Value. I've not seen Train Dreams. I've not watched The Secret Agent. Marty Supreme was very good, but I think that's more so because of the lead actor than it is necessarily the entire movie by itself. Hamnet, too emotionally manipulated to the point that it didn't work for me. The London sequence at the end was very good, but I wasn't crying like the movie's trying really hard to make you cry, and it just wasn't working for me. Frankenstein, like to Dave's point, agreed 100%. That opening sequence is amazing, and the rest of the movie can't live up to it. F1 was too cheesy and cliche for its own good. I gave it 3 out of 5. I think they were covering way too many races. I think it would have been better if you only covered like 1 or 2 races and have, because some of the stuff their team is doing in that movie would get the entire team banned for life. And as somebody who watches F1 is familiar with sports, I'm like, no, you're pushing this too far that I can't get behind this.
Yeah.
And Begonia was fine. It was a fun movie, but other than the cinematography and Jesse Plemons, it didn't really stand out as being like a phenomenal movie. I'm frankly surprised it's on this list. So which one is it going to be? I think it's going to be One Battle. The only award that it lost for Best Picture was at the Actor Awards. It swept all the other guilds and all the other award shows. It's timely, more timely than it was at the time they were making it, given stuff that's going on now with ICE and all that kind of shit that you see that's in this movie, even though they're not named, but that's basically what's going on. Sinners, it's a very well-made film, but I do agree that the first 40 minutes is exquisite, and then the remaining 90 minutes is like a completely different movie. Like From Dusk Till Dawn, where the first half is amazing, and the second half is just a vampire movie, monsters. And I feel the same thing here. I've watched Sinners 4 times now. I am sucked in by that first 40 minutes every time that I forget it's going to be a vampire movie. And so at 40 minutes, when the vampire shows up, I'm like, oh, because there's so many great ways that narrative can go, and trying to compress the rest of the story in one night, I think kind of hurts the story. And it does get to doing the generic vampire shit that it's like, okay, I see what you're doing here. Michael B. Jordan's great. The music's fantastic. Actually, Jack O'Connell was pretty good too as the vampire. I thought it was an odd choice to cast an Irishman though, because the Irish have been victims of a lot of racism as well. I thought it would have made more sense if he was, English colonial or American Gentile, as they would say in One Battle after another.
Yeah, so I have a feeling I know why he did that, but I'll say it in a bit.
Okay, so it was a good movie. It was a fun vampire movie. It did feel a tad bit long, and I don't like that the final scene of the movie is confined to a credit scene. It's like, no, the end of the movie is Chicago, 1992.
One of the better scenes of the,
Right, and it's like when the title came on screen at the end, I'm like, wait, what happened to Stack and the girl or whatever? and then the credits start playing, and then finally they play that scene. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna call that the Marvel hangover.
Yeah.
The symptom of having, it's like that's the final scene of the movie. It should not be a mid-credit scene. Same thing we saw with Spider-Man Far From Home, where Peter being framed and outed is the final scene of the movie. It shouldn't be a mid-credit scene. Same thing with Sinners. The scene in
Everything does
Chicago
not need to have a
encapsulates
mid
the movie.
credits,
Yes,
post credit scene. Everything does
exactly.
not need that.
And I think that Miles Cadden is the breakout star of Sinners because he's a brand new kid. He could sing really well.
Yeah.
And Delroy Lindo's fun, but I mean, I
To
admit
some
that
point, it's Delroy Lindo being Delroy Lindo. He's done this several times.
well,
before.
right, but it's like I admit I haven't seen all the other movies on this list, but I think Sinners is a really popular choice. I think it's a good movie. I didn't necessarily think Best Picture, but then again, it's all dependent on what you're up against. So maybe it is because I haven't seen the other
Yeah.
movies to know what their quality are. So I think it's probably going to go to One Battle simply because that's only had its streak broken once and it's won everywhere else, and it's a lot more timely than Sinners in terms of what the story's actually about. And the Academy loves that type of stuff, going in for the whatever's the most politically relevant movie. And yeah, one can argue Sinners somewhat because of what that movie's dealing with, but
Yeah.
I think it's going to be One Battle, but we'll see.
All right, here's old man yelling at clouds. Sinners,
Yeah. Go on.
just it has made that period in American history. It is like trying to Disneyfy and elevate and make fancier that period and that place in time. Is all of these things may have happened, but those people did not look like that. Those people did not talk like that. Those people did not move like that. You're turning this into Disney's The Princess and the Frog. Okay. And you're doing that just to make it by throwing in music and putting this. It's extraordinarily interesting that you're doing this with a horror movie, is that there's a horror movie that's not really a good horror movie and nominated for Best Picture. It's a whole bunch of mismatched this and that thrown into a bag, shaken up with popular actors and gone here. Michael B. Jordan did great as twins. Okay. It's like you're sitting in there and like you're at no point did I wonder, oh, how did they do that? No, it was pretty seamless. And Delroy Lindo, I loved his performance, but it was him being Delroy Lindo. And it's just like I'm watching From Dusk Till Dawn substitute African American actors. That's what I'm watching. And put it with a good soundtrack. And it's just like, why? Why did we need that? Where was that? Why was that in the realm of things going on? And then that it's become this giant juggernaut of, oh, we win this, oh, we win that, oh, we win this, oh, we win that. I really wonder if it's just people that forget that we've seen this movie before. And then it's vampires. But you're right. It's like the first part of it, I was in there, I was going for it, and then the vampires come out, and I'm just okay. I'm gonna sit here and be bored for the next I don't know how long. I'm just going to. I think there could have been, with that cast in that period of time, with that beginning, there could have been a much better movie attached to it. And I wish they had made that movie instead of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
The scene of the over time and all the music being made, I love that. Could you have made this character not a vampire, but some level like, so you don't have to do all the vampire tropes and everything because, oh, you got to invite me in. Hey man, I'm just sitting here with blood all over my face. It's a perfectly normal thing. Just you have to invite me in. Could you have made this? I mean, not exactly to do this. Could you have made this a Highlander film with an African American actor? Could you have made this some other level of immortal traveling through time And could you have shown me some of the other time frames and the different things that happened in their life because of what happened in the 20s and the 30s and the thing? Could you have shown me that? I'd have liked it better. I don't know. That's
all pretty good points.
Yeah, I wouldn't contest any of those things. Although I would like to know even more actually about how and why you feel it's like a caricature of.
I mean,
or not representing.
They
the
did a lot of
Delta.
things. It's a popularization. I don't feel that. It seems like more like we turn this into "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?"
Okay, yeah, it did feel like that actually.
It just go ahead and this is what these people do is like moving around. It feels like caricatures of people in the South as opposed to people in the South.
Yeah, like if you see photographs and footage from back then, Dave's right. They did Disney-fy it and make it look a lot more attractive than, like, even the outfit that Delta Slim is wearing is impeccable. When they first see him at the train station, it's like, no, like it's like, and stuff like that. It does come off as being a bit Disney-fied to make it look more, again, I guess that is a good, like, sanitized or Disney-fied or whatever you want to call it.
If you want to show the struggle of African American people in the South, show the struggle of African American people in the South. Just
because they allude to it and talk about it a little bit in the beginning of the movie, but they don't really lean into it as much. But which again is part of the point, because it's like, let's have a story that elevates rather than denigrates.
That's true, though. One thing I would say going for it, and that does kind of oppose a little bit about the African American struggle, is that there's been a lot of I'm trying to think of the phrase that's used by writers about this phenomenon of how Black Americans are portrayed in general audience aimed films. So things like 12 Years a Slave, people find that actually, looking back on it, maybe saying it wasn't the best film, it wasn't the best picture of the year in 2013. And one of the reasons why is that it's a very exploitative film again, and it leans into tropes to the point where it becomes caricature. And even though historically, apparently that film was quite accurate, I've actually still not watched 12 Years a Slave myself. And one of the reasons I haven't watched it is because people that I trust had told me that the experience of the film wasn't great. So after an award season's over and the buzz goes down and then the film is no longer talked about, you have to kind of seek some of these films out, even if they're big and they win Oscars. Otherwise, they tend to disappear. And 2013 was a time when streaming wasn't readily available in Europe. So we didn't have Netflix at the time. And 12 Years a Slave was on Netflix for a while. A few years ago, I saw.
I saw that movie. There was a lot of stunt casting in it. And I was shocked that Chiwetel Ejiofor did not win the Oscar that year. I thought it was his year, and then they gave it to Matthew McConaughey because I guess they hadn't been used to seeing him play actual dramatic roles. But the stunt casting was very distracting. Yeah. It was a very brutal movie to sit through. But again, it is based on a real memoir from an escaped slave. So the stories and the events depicted are taken from a real historical source and not just fabricated. Though obviously you have to invent dialogue and stuff like that for the sake of the story. But yeah, it's a hard movie to sit through. It's not something that you're going to pop on. Like, you watch it once and that's all you need. Which in a sense, that's kind of the movie doing a good job, because it does depict the true horror of slavery and does such a good job at it that I can't really complain that they gave that movie Best Picture, because how you set out to do something. And again, this was a Black director, Steve McQueen, made this. And so he had a better insight for that than other people would. So he did a really good job. I thought he should have won Best Director as well. Instead, they gave it to Catherine Bigelow for, I think it was Zero Dark 30 or The Hurt Lock, whichever year that was.
Zero Dark 30, yeah.
Zero Dark 30, yeah. But again, it did what it was supposed to do. It's just you have to have a strong stomach and be ready to watch it and be in the mood for. I guess you can never really be in the mood for something like that, but you know what I mean.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. That's why I was put off by watching it, because you've got to be in the right mood for certain films, and if your mood doesn't correspond with the availability of the film, then you're not going to want to watch that film. I think I'm gonna end up using the horrible phrase torture porn, but that's how it's been described. 12 Years a Slave has been described like that. There are other films that aren't about the Black American historical
Yeah.
oppression, which are described like that, such as Mel Gibson's The Passion, The Passion of the Christ.
Yeah, he's got both those sequels coming out next year.
Ridiculous. I mean, why? But there's a perception that the African American experience in mostly white directed films, just because that's how it is, and it's only relevant to the conversation because the understanding of the struggle for obviously emancipation and then civil rights is an ongoing struggle, and we're not at the end of it yet. And true parity and equality hasn't been achieved in the US or anywhere in the world. And so, because that fight is ongoing, there's a movement amongst creatives and some members of the community that they feel they don't want to see any more of the torture porn. They don't want to have films where it's just about the struggle for emancipation from slavery. They don't want to see people who are blackened and beaten and bruised and blued and scarred by physical oppression, and forced hours out on the plantation, and stories that center themselves on that being the beats of the story. It's okay if that's the side aspect of the story. Historically, for example, Sinners being set in 1932 in the Mississippi Delta.
Yeah.
There is talk about slavery. There is talk about Jim Crow. There's talk about oppression. It's not front and center. It's on the side. So I do know what you mean, Dave, when you're saying that maybe it's better to tackle the issues head on. But it wasn't meant to be a film about those issues. It was meant to be a film that happened to occur in that time period. That's the kind of the window dressing of the film. But the core of the film is not about the Black struggle in 1932. The core of the film is about the oppression of an indigenous community's identity through music, and how the power of music is a leveler and a universal common denominator for all people.
But
And that's
then
why
you throw in vampires.
Yeah, well, this is why
Well, it matches the theme of the movie, though.
It does
because remember when Remnick is confronting him at the end of the water, he says, "I want your stories, I want your history," like the cultural appropriation that happens.
Yeah.
That has happened. That's why he picked vampires, because it's like because the movie's celebrating Black culture through music, and yet here comes a vampire who, of course, not a coincidence that the vampire's white. I just thought it was odd that they made him Irish. That he wants to absorb all of their culture and take it away from them, because again, Blacks created rock music. Rock and roll is a Black music thing they got, but then Elvis came along, and there's a scene that's pretty accurate in the Elvis movie that Baz Luhrmann made a while ago. And the Tom Parker character running this little street carnival, and he hears these kids listening to this guy on the radio, and he thinks it's got to be a Black guy because it's rock and roll. And the kids are like, "No, he's white." And then he just beams, and you can see the dollar signs in his eyes.
Right.
And that's why Elvis became super popular, whereas guys like Chuck Berry and stuff, who were admittedly popular, but they didn't achieve the record heights, because it's like we're appropriating and taking that. And so having a vampire come along and suck out we're going to take your culture and your music and all of this and become part of us. And it's like, I get it. I just wish it wasn't told in a From Dusk Till Dawn one night encapsulated story. I wish they could have stretched that out further. I just thought
if you had made this into Interview with the Vampire as opposed to From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
So it just didn't parody the right vampire movie for you. That's what it is.
Maybe.
So you said, Gio, you had a theory about why they made the vampire Irish.
Yeah, so the idea of vampires in popular fiction all comes from Bram Stoker's 1897 Dracula, right? It's a novel written by an Irish person, first of all. Why was an Irish person writing about Vlad Tepes, Vlad the Impaler, a famous warlord who massacred many of what became the Ottoman, the remainder of the Ottoman Empire around Eastern Europe at the time. And he was bloodthirsty, and he was propagandized to be this absolute monster when he historically wasn't actually.
Dracula is actually not based on him. It's been proven that he did not. So he picked the name because he thought because of the castle nearby, but he did not actually base the character on Vlad the Impaler. That's something that pop culture has falsely assumed.
Interesting, because I had to study Dracula, and all the literary critics that we had to quote. Who
Yeah, they assumed
many of
it
them,
because of the name that, oh, in
yeah,
the time period, it must be this guy. It's like, actually, it's
yeah,
not.
most of them wrote that they thought it was based on him. But just because a critic says we think it's based on him doesn't mean that's historically true.
Yeah.
So fair point. But yeah, Dracula. It sounds like a great name for a villain, right? It's quite an unusual word. It's quite emphatic. It's memorable. It's different to anything else in English. That term has been used. I learned recently from a Japanese friend that the term for vampire in Japanese either is a word that means one that takes your blood. I can't remember the actual Japanese term, or they say Dracula to mean vampire because it's that associated with one and the other. The reason why so I
So
think
your
that
nurse coming in to give you,
yeah,
like, no, there it is.
yeah, if you donate blood, does the person who accepts the blood donation become the vampire? No. They so the idea of Bram Stoker making Dracula actually about people who are oppressed who then come to become imperialists and want to colonize themselves. So Dracula then comes to England, he comes to Whitby to become a colonizer. He's a count, he is a lord, he is an elite. He's an untouchably rich elite person who happens to be bloodthirsty. And with a postmodern context, one might say our real world elites now are quite bloodthirsty, especially if you watch and pay attention to current geopolitical events. So Bram Stoker's making massive cultural commentary, but in quite a discreet way through the myth of the vampire. And the reason why I think I don't have the issue that I thought I would have had when I first read that the vampire might be of Irish origin in the film. And I heard that and I thought, that's really weird. Why did Ryan Coogler do that? He's just going to get loads of hate for no reason. People are going to say, oh, you're prejudiced against Irish people, you're caricaturing. And in my heart, I was thinking, yeah, I get that. I'm trying to empathize. And I would hate for anyone from any community to be identified by a member of that community with the accent, with the history on screen, and then that to be the supervillain, because that sounds superficially like a horrible thing to do, right? But he's not saying that it's anything to do with his Irish culture, that he has any of the agenda that he does. He happens to be a vampire, and in Sinners, vampires are just things that happen to exist. Do you remember Wumi's character says initially that she thinks they're hates, and I think hates are dark spirits from Haitian culture.
Yeah.
And then she realizes, no, because of the boundary threshold not crossing without being invited in, that they are actually vampires. And then she does the quick lore breakdown on what vampires are within the Sinners universe. He's picked an Irish person because vampires are a minority themselves in the film, and there's implications that they are oppressed, they're outcasts, they don't belong in society, people suspect them, people are afraid of them, and there's a propaganda and like a old wives tale about how bad vampires are, and we hear that before we see how bad they are. So that's kind of an unfair social representation of a minority group, and therefore it fits with him being Irish because the Irish community were hugely discriminated against when they visited and then became part of the US. And they were colonized by the British. So, in the same way that in Bram Stoker's Dracula, he takes a Romanian legend and then dresses it up in the superstition and the mythology and some of his own world building and lore to create this new version of a vampire and create this Dracula character. It ends up being a counter imperialist tale. And my understanding of Sinners is he uses a similar trope. I maybe shouldn't have said the word trope because it's not done much. It's done in Dracula the novel. And then, unfortunately, I had to read other Gothic horror, but I didn't come across this sentiment again. And I didn't come across any literary criticism that also echoed what Bram Stoker had done with Dracula until coming across Sinners. And I think Sinners, therefore, is a worthy addition to Gothic horror and to the vampire mythology pantheon because it has its own kind of little spin on vampires, but it makes a very specific social commentary on who they are, not why they exist. They just happen to exist. So I'd also count Sinners as magical realism as much as horror because it's taken by default that vampires, along with these other metaphysical things that are unknown, are part of the world. And Michael B. Jordan's love interest, she mentions them, and she's kind of like a shamanish kind of witch doctor type person herself. She has this kind of connection um, to other methods of healing that's implied, and then you see it a little bit as well. And so I don't have an issue because of that reason, because I think that vampires are actually also meant to represent the worst part of when a minority is oppressed and then lashes out and fights back and ends up becoming and behaving the way they were treated. So being horrible, being effectively what are vampires? They're cannibalistic in a way because you drink the blood or eat other people. And they end up becoming, so it's almost like those who were colonized, those who were oppressed, have now, because of other social circumstances, become those who want to oppress and those who want to colonize. And that's a really massive statement, and it's a big statement to make in 2026. And he made the film in 2024, and it came out April 2025. So I think Sinners has, if you break it down and jump as far down the rabbit hole as I've just been, and I've been in that rabbit hole for 2 weeks since I first saw the film, I think it is as relevant today as One Battle After Another is, from what you guys have said and what I've read about with the ice stuff. I think the parallel is there if you want to dive deep and find it. And I think that's why I am happy with Ryan Coogler's portrayal of different communities in Sinners. And I don't think has any prejudice in his heart. I think he is trying to convey the struggle from different angles and through different colors of the brush. And unfortunately, one might take offense if they're from that community, if they feel the character is purely representing that community, but it's not. No community is a monolith. And if anyone comes up against a piece of art, a film, for example, and a character is acting bad, is a bad actor, is, villainous in some way, and happens to be specifically from a community that isn't the default community that everyone else normally is in film, it doesn't mean the writer or the director or the actor is saying that person represents that community. It just happens to be coincidence. And I think a lot of people don't look at things beyond the superficial. So that's when you can have these issues and ends up, there'll be an online culture war about one actor's decision or one director's writing choice, or one representation of a superhero on screen, which is different to how the comic book portrayed it.
Don't get me started on that.
No, but the reason why I bring the reason why I bring that up is because we know that unfortunately there's a horrible part of the internet that will just go nuts if a white character is cast as a black character, for example. And that's the issue that I'm kind of trying to summarize everything to go towards, is that that's a huge problem with society, and that's up to the individual who has that prejudice to sort out by doing more reading and doing more research and reflecting on themselves before they start casting aspersions and slinging the mud elsewhere, whether it's online or in person. I think if everyone did more of that, they had more media literacy and they were able to appraise things more critically, then everyone would be a lot more calm. There'd be a lot more chill. There'd be a lot less heated disagreements in person and online. And I think everyone would get along a little bit better. So my summary of Sinners, I didn't actually get to review it, but I've spoken way too long about it and we're well overdue time. I think it's a magnificent film. I agree that the first act was amazing, and I wish the whole film had been like the first act. I forced my family to watch it. So my mum was sitting next to me while watching Sinners. I don't like horror, as you guys know, and I've told Kat many times. I don't like body horror. I don't like supernatural evil horror. Vampires are both. So my mum was absolutely not thrilled at all when it became From Dusk Till Dawn Part 2. So I completely understand your criticism, and I get why. Dave, I'm interested to hear out of 10 what you would rate Sinners, because I feel like your gut feeling is you did not like it much at all.
I really didn't. I liked pieces and parts. I liked the actors. Like I said, I don't know that I'm not a fan of anything I've ever seen Delroy Lindo in.
Wow.
Michael B. Jordan, I think, is 50-50 for me, and what he has is, like you said, is just films that were absolutely panned, absolutely Fantastic Four reboot. I mean, I didn't love his character in Black Panther, but he sold it completely and
Yeah, he
did
elevated that role.
he sold what he was doing there how he could. And it's just like I'm gonna give out of a 10, I would give Sinners like 5, 6.
Okay, that's fair.
Is in that neighborhood. Is
Hmm.
yes, there's much worse out there in the world, but I would have liked to see with its cast and its characters and its premise I would have liked to see a better movie.
Sure,
Or
I get that.
maybe
So you mean like a 5 out of 6 or a 5 or a 6 out of 10?
5 or a 6 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
5 being dead average, though, right?
5 being 5. Well, no, I would consider a movie that a movie to be a good movie. It should be
7.
Yeah, like a good movie should be a 7. I think it's just beneath that because of what came together. If I were like the first part of the movie, 8.
Yeah.
As a movie together, the second part completely drug down the first part.
Is it because it descends into vampire horror action in a barn?
And and not in a way that I felt moved to the story.
I see. I agree.
And listening to what you talked about and how vampirism is cultural, I might need to watch it again with a different lens. But in the lens that I saw it the first time, I'm just like, why are we making From Dusk Till Dawn again?
So you weren't a fan of that film either?
It was what it was at the time, but
Yeah.
it was definitely what you were talking about. It was violence porn at the time because that's how Tarantino rolls.
Yeah. The more Tarantino's career's gone on, the more I like him a lot less, and that's just on his film, not even about what he says. He's somebody who needs to talk less and maybe make more art and just talk less. One thing I will say about Sinners is I think the cinematography is some of the best I've ever seen. When we streamed it at home, the opening 20 minutes, I think, was full screen. So I think, Kat, does that mean it might have been shot on IMAX, or no, it's just the ratio was different?
I think it was maybe just the ratio. I didn't hear if they shot it in IMAX or not. I don't think they did.
But it looked incredible. It was a gorgeous looking film. And I know you're saying they definitely cleaned it up a lot more than what 1932 Mississippi would have looked like in real life. But I think films, just Hollywood's always done that, right? I know saying a Disneyfication or making it sanitized, I understand completely and I agree. But I think Hollywood's always made, people and places look a lot better to the eye than they were, especially for period pieces in history. Look at Downton Abbey, look at The Crown, look at the Tudors, look at Rome.
Downton Abbey is specifically taking place at a rich hoity-toity place, so it's going to be an accurate presentation of that.
Well, yeah, but you don't also see the fact that people are
there's the downstairs people
instead of actual running water.
Exactly, and there's the whole thing about Downton Abbey is it's not just about the elite; it's about the downstairs people in the basement who are always serving them 24/7, and they're as much as part of the story as the rich Downton family are. But yeah, I just wanted to do a little shout out for the DOP because I thought when I watched Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, it looked a lot better than Black Panther from a cinematography point of view, and also the CG was a lot cleaner. And it was the same DOP that he's used now for Sinners. So her name is Autumn Cheyenne Gerald Arkapow, and she is half Filipino and half Creole. And I think that's just really cool. I know talking about representation and tokenism is not something we want to spend too much time on, but I just like the fact that you don't see many. Maybe this is my own bias, but I don't remember many cinematographers of note that are female, and that's just a numbers game. I just think the majority of people who are DOPs are male. That's why when the award season comes along, it's quite rare to see a woman's name. But to see a woman's name and someone of native ancestry, I think it's just kind of cool. And that's not the reason I hope she wins. I hope she wins because I think she's the best one. And she also did work on Loki. And I think Loki had some of the best cinematography for any of those Marvel Disney Plus shows. So she's got a good track record, and hopefully Sinners does well.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And that about wraps it up.
It does. It will be very interesting to see. I'm sure when we come back and talk about our next episode, we have other topics to cover, but I'm sure we'll come back and at least mention how right, how wrong, how
Oh yeah, we'll do a quick
we
rundown.
are in how the actual results came out. But please go check out the Oscars, or at least look in to see what the results would be when that airs.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's one of the more contested Oscars for a while in terms of Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, like we're saying as we went through the categories.
Like you said, there's a couple of potential winners in a number of categories. Some of them are pretty cut and dried. There have been years where Best Picture has been pretty darn cut and dried, but this has got some good films in there for people to take a look at. It'd still be nice if more people were taking a look at them and checking them out in theaters, but that's a whole other conversation and thing that rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah, there's one good bit of positive news in the media, and that is physical media sales are up for the highest they've been in about 6 or 7 years, and apparently that's due to the younger population and the older population. So it's coming from a little bit from baby boomers and Gen X, and also from young Gen Z.
Well, I'm highly impressed that Kat has this many of these films like this immediately, like already in the Steelbook and the 4K.
Yeah.
Sinners was released again last July.
Yeah.
One battle was released in January, but once they canceled my Steelbook pre-order, it's like, oh, they're probably not going to make it now, so I'm just going to get the regular version. It's been out for
what was the artwork on the Steelbook? Was it a similar?
There was none. There was no See, that was another red flag. The fact that they were getting closer to the alleged March release date and there was still no confirmed artwork told you they weren't even near close to doing it. But once they canceled my order, but then other people who ordered much more recently, because I pre-ordered it back in October. But the fact that people who ordered much more recently were given the option to extend their pre-order through September, a new release date. I'm like, there's no way it would take that long to get this out there. And they're like, oh, we're waiting on Paul to do bonus features. Like, he doesn't really do bonus features on his movies. Like, even the new Boogie Nights 4K, all the bonus features were done by a third party. So I started calling bullshit.
I'm sorry about that.
Maybe they wanted to do bonus features as part of an Oscar push, but once the movie lost a lot of money, they just didn't do it. And I guess they just forgot to notify the retailers. But I don't think it's actually going to happen. So I just figured, forget it. I'm just going to get the regular version.
Sure. I feel like it's a bit of a gamble to order, because to me, I judge every book by its cover. Sorry,
exactly,
including DVDs and Blu-rays. So
Steelbooks especially.
I'd want to see how the Steelbook looks before I commit to the. How much did they expect you to pay? $40?
It was less than that.
Okay.
I can't remember, but it was less. But usually I do that too. I wait. But I thought, a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. I love his stuff. The idea that there was going to be a bonus disc was really surprising, that he would curate it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go in for this, even though they don't have the artwork there. And oh, what a surprise. It doesn't look like it's happening now.
Yeah. It's it was going to be $35 to buy the Steelbook for any of the recent releases. One film I really recommend that completely, I think this tanked and bombed at the box office, right? The Running Man.
I pre-ordered that. Mine
didn't do what it was supposed to do, for sure.
I pre-ordered that. It released on Tuesday, and I know it actually exists because there have been unboxing videos. But the day it should have been delivered to my house, I got a notice from Amazon, updated release. You'll get yours on May 3rd now, because they're running into supply chain issues and things like that. And so it's like, well, at least I know this actually exists, and it's not just going to get canceled on me. I like that movie. I don't know why it flopped so hard. It was pretty good.
So guess what? Maybe we'll feature this next time on a future episode. But I managed to watch the film in the cinema for the first time on Wednesday, and it was Edgar Wright and crew presenting it, and he did a Q&A at the end, and it was really, really cool because I've seen people in the cantina share stuff. Like Jeff's always seemingly going to cool stuff in LA and Hollywood, and lots of round tables and Q&As and audience things. But I've never been to one such event myself, and it was really fun. And it started off with him introducing the film for about 6-7 minutes, and then they played the film, and it looked incredible. The sound was excellent. I was on the left-hand side, about 6 rows back, but it felt like I was in the acoustic sweet spot in the center. It was at one of the big central London cinemas that I've always meant to go to. I've walked past millions of times, but this was the first time I bought a ticket ahead of time, and I had a seat, and I was going to it. And I bought it a few days ahead of time, so I had the whole anticipation, like, oh, it's coming. I'm going to see Edgar Wright in real life. I'm going to see The Running Man on the big screen. And it was all also tied to the release of the Steelbook and the Blu-ray and the 4K. And then I asked somebody at the HMV shop in Oxford Street, I really want to get The Running Man on the Steelbook. Do you have it? Yes, it's £35. We have one left. It's just downstairs. Okay, so shall I go downstairs or will he bring it up for me? Oh, why don't you go downstairs? I'll tell my colleague, I'll radio him, and then he'll be ready with it. I go downstairs. There's nobody around. And 5 minutes later, I find the guy, and I walk with him around the shop looking for the Steelbook because they don't have it. There's no Steelbook. And
yeah, for
still the girl upstairs
should have brought that to you on a silver platter.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, oh man, what? You raised my expectations by telling me you had one and it was the last one left. So as I was going down the stairs, I was thinking, this is great. I can take The Running Man home and share it with friends and family. I really loved the live action, seeing it in the cinema experience. But that film's got really good sci-fi action in it, and I think
it has sci-fi action and it's good. We should talk about some that's a list of films that we should go down. You're far past our time and our Oscar thing here today, because I have whole opinions on The Running Man. It felt too much like real life.
Yeah,
that's what the point was in the book too.
That's why he said he made it. He loved the novel by Stephen King. He bought it in a collection of Stephen King novels back when Stephen King wrote under a pseudonym, a pen name, something Buchanan, I believe. So he wanted to make the novel on screen rather than redo the Arnold Schwarzenegger 1987 version, which was a very different take on the story.
Well, and along this same line, I'm going to go ahead and give a plug for our Wednesday night show this week. The Nerf Herders are going to be on the VCN, and they're over here in this other chat talking about their potential topic, and they are debating the topic being Top Gun Maverick, the perfect sequel. So,
good title.
Very
good title.
No.
But there are a number of movies that could be mentioned in this level of things. So if you want to get more of this movie talk going on, you go over there on Wednesday night and you talk to the Nerf Herder Council.
Here's the real question. Does a movie count as a great sequel if the first movie wasn't any good, meaning the bar wasn't very hard to pass?
Oh.
Like, for instance, Empire Strikes Back is a great... Because this thing, Empire Strikes Back is a great sequel because the first movie was fantastic.
Yeah,
and it still manages to do it. Like Godfather 2, great. Yeah. Godfather 1, I'm not crazy about it.
Terminator 2,
Top Gun, I watched Top Gun, the original, and it was bad. And then the second one was actually much better.
Yes.
I agree.
It's perspective, like we were talking about earlier about when
Batman Begins, good movie. Dark Knight even better.
Where you come to Star Wars in is cultural perspective and the time going on. Is seeing Top Gun when Top Gun came out whole other experience than seeing Top Gun later.
Oh, I could tell because of the whole thing where he mentions that Maverick's father died a hero bombing the fuck out of Cambodia. It's like, okay, yeah, this is obviously a different time period because nothing heroic about that.
So it was a whole other thing. It's like seeing Rocky IV when the Cold War was still going on. It's like whole other movie.
Something else.
But anyway, we're down a rabbit hole. We need to not go down that rabbit hole. check out the Oscars March the 15th. Check us out again when we're back in 2 weeks, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And we've got some other things cooking in the background as well. So until then, everybody, may the force be with you.
Always.
May the force be with you all.